chat. I guess we don't have to wait for people to join because I can just start watching the stuff. But yeah, last time was really fun where we were just we need to get more monitors. If I got monitors, this would be so much easier. I have to do this all on one screen. Um, yeah, I think this is the last thing I should do. Get monitors. If I had monitors, I think this would be perfect. Yeah, as people join, we'll just be watching some George Carlin.
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians. Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Yeah! Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a memory of reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens.
George Carlin. I think like he has some of the best political takes out of anybody. So like sensitive.
This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And
For everyone complaining right now on the internet, listen to that. Like the reason we get these terrible candidates is because of us. Is because of the society that we have cultivated. Like if you want to get a better political system, you got to be better through yourself. You got to be better first.
Term limits ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here.
Can that be?
Like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody. The public sucks. Fuck hope. Fuck hope.
It's like I don't even know if this is intended to be funny, but it's making me laugh just because it's hilarious. It genuinely is. It's genuinely so funny. But yeah.
Because if it's really just the fault of these politicians, then where are all the other bright people of conscience? Where are all the bright, honest, intelligent Americans ready to step in and save the nation and lead the way? We don't have people like that in this country. Everybody's at the mall, scratching.
Like the best part about this is it's comedy, but it hits so deeply. Like I just love George Carlin.
His ass, picking his nose, taking his credit card out of his fanny pack and buying a pair of sneakers with lights in them. So I have solved this little political dilemma for myself in a very simple way. On election day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't vote. Two reasons I don't vote. First of all, it's meaningless. This country was bought and sold and paid for.
Look up the 17th Amendment. That's what he's talking about.
For a long time ago. The shit they shuffle around every 4 years doesn't mean a fucking thing. And secondly, I don't vote because I believe if you vote, you have no right to complain. People like to twist that around. I know. They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote and you elect dishonest, incompetent people, and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused.
I'm not necessarily saying don't vote. I'm just saying that like the old people that say you have to do your civic duty, you have to do this. It's like there's no options. There's no point to voting because neither party is going to represent your interest. It's just going to represent the bankers and the corporations. But
The problem, you voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, who, in fact, did not even leave the house on election day, am in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with.
you guys want to know one of the funniest things ever? There's like a really popular George Carlin video, and it's called Liberals, and he just destroys liberty. And like I've seen conservative people react to it. Meanwhile, there's a video by George Carlin called Conservatives, where he just shits on conservatives. You can't make this shit up. Just people like there's no such thing as deeper look. There's no such thing as understanding what someone's about. Like if they support your opinion, then you support them. It's just it's just crazy to me.
So I know that a little later on this year, you're going to have another one of those really swell presidential elections that you like so much. You'll enjoy yourselves. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure as soon as the election is over, your country will improve immediately. As for me, I'll be home on that day.
Is everything gonna change? The world's coming to an end. Donald Trump is president. Like, stop it with this nonsense. Like, the funniest thing is absolutely nothing has changed except you're afraid now or you're happy now. Like, nothing is going to make a big change aside from yourself in your life. Like, maybe a few things change here and there. Maybe the media says that things are better or things are worse, but on the grand scheme of things, like nothing changes unless you change yourself. Nothing changes if you stand up unless you stand up for yourself and say like, all right, I'm gonna start making the changes. I'm gonna start taking control of my life. I'm gonna start doing the things to get me to where I want to go.
Doing essentially the same thing as you. The only difference is when I get finished masturbating, I'm going to have a little something to show for it, folks. Thank you very much. But if you talk to one of them about this, if you isolate one of them, you sit them down rationally, and you talk to them about the low IQs and the dumb behavior and the bad decisions.
All right, this summarizes everything I'm about in like the next 30 seconds. Like, I want you guys to like listen to George Carlin and listen to his takes because what's up, Hypnaudio? We're going through George Carlin. I'm pretty sure you're gonna love this. If you don't know who George Carlin is, you're going to love him after this because this take right here is like I don't know if this is a fair comparison to compare Nietzsche to Carlin, but like the thing is like they were both experts at picking apart the flaws in society. George Carlin obviously went the more funny route. He did it to, entertain people, and he thought that through comedy he could really change um the zeitgeist, the way people were approaching things. But I think it's pretty similar to Nietzsche. Like if you read Nietzsche, he's literally just picking apart society, and like I mean these are necessary voices because until we can pick apart the flaws in society, we can never change what needs to be changed.
Right away, they start talking about education. That's the big answer to everything. Education. They said we need more money for education. We need more books, more teachers.
The schools that get the most funding from the government have the worst test scores.
More classrooms, more schools. We need more testing for the kids.
Yeah,
you
more
say to them,
testing.
well, we've tried all of that, and the kids still can't pass the test. So, don't you worry about that. We're going to lower the passing grades. That's what
Like I don't even know if it's supposed to be funny, but it's just funny.
they do in a lot of these schools now. They lower the passing grades so more kids can pass. More kids pass, the school looks good, everybody's happy, the IQ of the country slips another 2 or 3 points, and pretty soon all you'll need to get into college is a fucking pencil.
It's almost like he knew.
Got a pencil? Get the fuck in.
I love how George Carlin's been dead for like 20 years, and we have this. The enlightened Joker sees right through the king and all of this. Yeah.
In there, it's physics. Then everyone wonders why 17 other countries graduate more scientists than we do. Education. Politicians know that word. They use it on you. Politicians have traditionally hidden behind 3 things: the flag, the Bible, and children. No child left behind. No.
I'm pausing more just because I was getting copyrighted. Dude, I can't believe Osho copyrighted me. How'd you find out that? Does it say somewhere? Um, Yeah, that was crazy. And then the Hyraxes too. I thought it was 30 seconds, but I guess it's if it's not chopped up enough. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think a lot of bigger media corporations can copyright claim everything, and like I'm not going to dispute them because I don't know what. I just have to do more research and figure it out more. But yeah,
Oh, child left behind. Oh, really? Well, it wasn't long ago you were talking about giving kids a head start. Head start, left behind. Someone's losing fucking ground here. But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education
you saw it on the screen. Okay, okay. Did it like say like warning? What did it say? Did it just say like this has been removed?
sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big, wealthy.
All right, that was enough. We won't even get into this. Do you know Norm Macdonald?
Well, let me say something more modern and stylish then.
This
Okay.
is so funny.
My wife went into a coma,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
and the doctor said to me, "You won't hear this from any 1935 coming."
His delivery, I shouldn't even have laughed at that, but his delivery just cracks me up. Oh, okay, okay.
He says to me, "There's one way to wake her up, but it's a little unconventional. You go in there and you have oral sex with her." I said, "By God."
I hate that I know the punchline because I'm laughing already.
He says, "I've seen it work." I said, "Well, I'm willing to try." So I go in.
Dude, like the best part about him going on Conan is Conan doesn't get what he's doing. Like I don't know if it's intentional, I don't know if it's unintentional, but like they play off each other so well.
I'm in there about 5 minutes, and I come out. I said, "Doc, she's choking."
How's it going? Everything good with you, man? Nadia, I know you like that joke.
Who are safer drivers, men or women?
This is
Well,
so funny.
according to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman.
You ready? This is the best. The first part of the joke is like, it's kind of just normal humor, but watch this part.
For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do.
This is the best part.
No, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women.
Yeah, his jokes are just like they're not like not to say that they're not funny, but it's more so like the timing. Like if you tell these jokes, they're not going to be as entertaining.
3 years ago, an 11-year-old British schoolgirl put a message in a bottle and tossed it into the Atlantic Ocean. Well, this week, she was astounded to receive a reply from halfway around the world. Sadly, the reply read, "You're 11, what are you wearing?" In a recent interview, Christy Brinkley suggested that football players should have special gloves connected to lights on their helmets. That way, when they catch the ball, you'll know who has possession. Read these and other interesting ideas in Christy's new book, I'm an Idiot.
I don't like. They're not like. It's just the way he said. It's like who Seinfeld wishes he was.
According to published reports, MTV News anchor Tabitha Soren has been romantically linked with journalist Michael Lewis. Soren denies the reports,
We'll like this video. So this guy's like claiming me, right?
claiming she doesn't have time for a boyfriend because she's too busy pretending not to be stupid. While in the hospital, Michael...
I gotta show you guys these. This is one of the funniest movies you'll ever hear.
I think I heard Matthew Perry once in an interview. I think basically said he invented sarcasm. I think he said that. Norm was on Saturday Night Live. Norm tells the best fucking stories about some of those celebrities that went through there, and Matthew.
This is if you don't know anything about Norm Macdonald, this is the most classic Norm Macdonald story, and this is everything you need to know about him.
Perry had an assistant and said, he said to Norm, Matt wants to do a sketch that he wants you to be in where he talks like he does on Friends. He calls it Matt speak. And Norm said, what are you talking about? He goes, well, he invented a way of talking, the way he talks on Friends, Matt speak. And he showed him a clip, and Norm said, are you talking about sarcasm?
Dude, it's just so funny how like dumb these celebrities are. Like, this is why if I like an actor, I don't look up after the fact. Like, I don't want to know what they talk about. I don't want to know their beliefs. I don't want to know who they support politically. Like, actors are so fucking dumb. Like enjoy them in that show, enjoy them in that role because they're not actually that person.
Matthew Perry called sarcasm. He renamed it Matt speak.
Hilarious.
And Norm goes, you're talking about sarcasm?
What about the...
Dude, have you seen Dirty Works? That's such a good movie. Yeah, Artie Lang is hilarious.
Black Odd Couple
They should have just said to him, oh, that was really good.
I think one of the younger writers said, I think Matthew Perry's a genius. I think that's what it was. And Norm said, is he good at math or something?
All right, guys. Next time someone is being like, "This guy's a genius," ask if he's good at math. That's my for you guys. Like next time you hear someone say like, "Oh my God, this guy's so smart," you just go, "What is he good at math?" See how it goes.
Excuse me, is this Sarcasm 101?
No, it's Lama's class for men named Arthur.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm kidding. It is Sarcasm 101. Be more gullible. Take any seat you want.
Thanks.
Except that one. I'm kidding. Sit down.
Hilarious, right?
It's really hard to tell.
Thank you. Oh, in class, whoever parked in my space, thank you. I enjoyed the walk.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there's nothing like an hour in the rain.
He just sounds like so smug. I've never really watched Friends, but is this how he sounds on the show? I don't know if it's intentional.
Oh, I get it. You're saying that because you don't want him to park in your spot.
Very good. You win the trip to Jamaica.
Hey, wait a minute. You didn't say there's a prize.
Wow, could you be any stupider? Okay, last week's assignment was how you would describe the food in England. Jane.
Oh, the food is so good there.
Let me see. They don't have the best moment. Never mind. Watch his podcast.
Why do dogs always race to the door when the doorbell rings? It's almost never for them. You know the funniest part of doing an office conga line? When you look back and realize you're doing it alone and you're not in an office, you're in a psychiatric hospital.
Nadia, is that you? Do you often find yourself doing conga lines?
Been on top of trends, I guess. You know, when everybody was burning CDs, I was still burning books. Crowds in Brazil greeted a arriving Olympic.
Dude, the show Friends might be one of the worst shows ever, and the fact that it's like so popular and like people love it just says so much about this world. So much about like how like just nonsensical people are there's nothing about that show that's likable. Like at least Seinfeld is hilarious. Friends, the relationships aren't even that good. The push and pull, like the dynamics of the scenarios, they're not even funny. Like one of the most famous moments is like when the dude's carrying the couch up the stairs and he's saying pivot. It's just annoying. It's not like I don't know, I never get it. Same thing with The Office. Like The Office is like an okay show, but it's not like I don't know, it's not like I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's literally just like, wow, this is hilarious. This is so funny. I don't know.
Champions with signs reading "Welcome to Hell." I had a wild night last night, boy. I was in an orgy. It was me, my iPad, my laptop, and TV while my phone watched. It's more of a comment, really.
You shouldn't be making me laugh. I don't know why.
I'd like to take this moment to say I endorse podiums. That's a product I can stand behind. What about this one? This is for you.
It's just not funny when I'm laughing. One of the best jokes is he makes one of his friends say it. I'll see if I can.
Yesterday I had a picture framed. Now it's doing time upstate for armed robbery.
Well, listen to this. Catherine Zeta-Jones admitted she is bipolar half the time. She's deliriously happy, and the other time she has to suck an old man's cock. That's dirty. Come on, man.
A new study shows that
There's like one guy that just reacts so terribly to all the jokes. See? Oh.
And I'm here with my trusty sidekick, Adam Egas.
That's right. How are you, Norm?
Good. How are you, Adam?
Fine. Just
Excellent.
Fine. Yeah.
Your life is going well,
Couldn't be better.
but you're always in trouble with the law.
I wouldn't say that.
A little bit.
Well, I mean, yeah, a little. I mean, I did just get out of court.
Possibly we're boring the shit out of the public right now?
About Adam Egas?
Yeah, just having non-sequitur.
Yeah, show you Hypnotic. This is one of my videos. I don't know if I have to pause it because of the music. But let's get out. So I don't have to worry about it. It's like, why am I doing this so fast? And then I forgot. The lighting in this gym was so terrible. I don't know how like the fitness influencers do it. My friend's a terrible cameraman too. They play like terrible music in this gym too. The key about this one is if you go slow on the way up, you don't really have to do that many reps. I don't know. See right here how slow I'm going? When your muscle's stretched and you put it under stress, that's when that's when you get the most progress. I can't listen to this. So I think I think I do an upper body day here. So I think I start with back. So you saw I started with pull-ups. I did pull downs, and I. This guy's amazing. Yeah, this gym is like a powerlifting gym, so it's cool because you can go, like film and no one really thinks twice. But it's just, dude, like I've just heard some of the worst speakers. Like they always blow them out.
Keep your elbow 90 degrees. Keep your elbow 90 degrees.
So like this kid's an idiot. In this sense.
Just get it.
This is everyone sleeps on this one. Everyone does bent over rows. I'm telling you, this one right here. Because you don't have to worry about the weight smashing anywhere. You don't have to worry about bailing on the set. So you can really just push yourself to failure. Like this one, I try to go as slow as possible, and I literally don't count the reps.
Yeah.
Also, this is 1.25 speed, so that's why it doesn't look that like it's that slow. Do you ever take the free weights home? No. I have like a small gym in my basement at home. But this is what I was talking about here in terms of dips. This fucking idiot's gonna turn it this way, watch. You're watching too much Norm Macdonald, right?
Yeah.
Let's skip through this guy. A lot of people, yeah, if I talk about going slow and it doesn't look slow, it's because it's sped up. Um, but a lot of people, when they do lateral raises, super heavy, if you just go slow with decently, like 20 pounds is not a lot of weight for me doing lateral raises. Like I probably do 40s and I wouldn't have to cheat. Like I rock this way just so I can go more reps, but I like to just go slow on the way down. Like on the way up, I don't care how fast I'm going, but on the way down, slow, slow, slow. Especially at the top, because whenever the muscle's most extended, that's when you get the most progress. I don't really work on my arms. This is okay. This right here is the best thing for arms. I do literally my arms, literally one of my best things. I do 1 to 2 sets of arms. I do 1 to 2 sets of things for biceps, and this is the only thing I do. Like if you learn one thing from me in terms of fitness, this exercise right here is the only thing you need to get big biceps. I don't work out my arms. Like most people that are telling you how to get big arms, all they do is spam arms. I don't even have good genetics if you look. Look at the space here. I have a good peak, but I don't have good genetics for biceps. Actually, I win. Yeah, I mean, all these things, they're none of these things are super hard. None of these things are super difficult that we just showed. Just yeah, I mean, we can all do a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like we can all find a little bit more inside of us, and it's like just pushing ourselves to face our fears is just the best thing we can do. Do I list the exercises? No, I don't. Okay. Yeah, that's all I wanted to show you. I have other videos of me lifting, but they're not structured. They're not like edited down. You can do either. So the thing is, if you're doing a pull down and you're holding, this is when the muscle's the smallest. If you're up here and you're holding, this is when the muscle is the most elongated, the most stretched. So um, it really depends on what muscle group you're doing. But like if you're doing a bench press and you're down here, this is when the muscle's the most stretched. So if you don't have a lot of weight, it might be a good idea to hold down here. And up here, you're not really using the muscle at all. I mean, if you're doing this, you are this kind of thing. You can see my chest fibers firing right now because the chest literally just does this. This is all the chest muscle does. It just controls your arm doing this. So like pressing this is why pressing it'll build you a big chest, but it's not going to build you the entire thing. It's going to look like blocky. Because you can see. So look at the difference in the chest. So this guy's chest is huge. Like don't get me wrong, his chest is huge, but it's not developed the way this chest is because this chest isn't focused so much on pressing. It's focused more on flies and movements like this. Because this is the healthiest movement um for your chest, going on the angle here because it really follows the pathing. But I think I think this is a power lifter. So power lifters are just locked in here, here to here, and it doesn't like when your arms start doing this. This is when your chest fully fires. A little bit of both. I mean, I used to watch a lot of videos on this stuff. Um, I was gonna show you this guy too. I'll go to this video.
Without any equipment, you can start improving bad knees right now. Step 1.
Go back to see this. Like this guy, he he says himself like his knees used to barely work at all, and that's what he can do without any warm up.
Without any equipment, you can start improving bad knees right now.
That's just insane.
Step 1, 10-minute walk, but backward.
So this is a big one. Walking backwards is one of the greatest things you can do for yourself. If your gym has a sled, pulling it backwards, for whatever reason, it puts your knee in the full range of motion without putting any stress on it. Like the squatting ass to grass is great for your knees, but if you can't do it, then you can't get the benefit of squatting ass to grass. You can get the same benefit, the same full range of motion from walking backwards, from pulling a sled backwards, from getting on a treadmill backwards. Like it can give you the exact same effect. And it's just like if you have bad knees and you do this for a year, your knees probably won't be bad anymore. What the fuck? That's illegal. The knee thing.
If you use a treadmill, make sure it's not turned on. Then 25 tibialis raises. This does not direct.
This is one of the best things ever too. So we all train our calves, but we don't train the front part of our shin. So if you constantly get shin splints, do this exercise and it will stop you from because shin splints is basically your shin isn't absorbing the force, right? The muscle on your shin. The tibialis is not absorbing the force. So literally just doing that, walking backwards is good for you. Uphill is really good for you. Yeah. Just walking backwards in general is good, but uphill, like any sort of incline, any sort of way to make it harder is going to benefit you.
Directly strengthen the knee. It strengthens this muscle that goes from below the knee to the inside of the foot. That gets weaker when we stop slamming force into the knee. So bolstering it gives us a better chance to heal and return to activities without being as vulnerable. Finish your 10 minutes.
Like if you do this every day, walk backwards and do that, that gets like 80% of the results. Like your knee will feel so much better if you just do these two things because think like this is the number one absorber of shock in your leg. So if this is an absorbing shock, where's the pressure going? Especially because people have really weak ankles and they're really tight at the hips. Like if your ankles are loose, if your hips are loose, it means your legs in alignment. And when your legs in alignment, it's really hard for your knees to get injured. But when this is out of alignment, when this is out of alignment, this is the next thing to go. So a lot of knee issues, they're not caused from the actual knee being weak, the actual joint being weak, but rather the joint becomes weak because of all of these other different things. Yeah, well, it's just because these studies are like buried. He got these all from like studies that really are not popular, but he's transformed so many people's knees. And the thing is, like, I'm not saying it's necessarily bad, but like doctors make money off surgery. Doctors make money off how many legs they open up and repair. So it's like, why should why should they explore options that are preventative rather than, just giving the surgery?
25 reps. You just put money in the bank for areas that make.
And it's not even their fault either. It's just the schooling. It's just the education. Like if doctors understood how effective these things could be, I'm sure they would tell their patients about it. But the entire system is just set up to extract as much money from individuals because overall it's a business. And I mean, capitalism's great, but capitalism without any morality, capitalism without worrying about the health and the well-being of other people, it's destructive and it leads to the misuse of funds, the misuse of education, the misuse of practices, especially when it comes to health. Because look how much money there is in this country. Look how much money there is in the healthcare industry, and it's like people are getting sicker. People are getting worse and worse in terms of health every single year. And it's like, if we're spending this much money on health, why is the issues, why are they getting worse? Why are these things happening more? And it has to do with stuff like this. It has to do with our bodies not being in motion, our bodies not, absorbing the chemicals that are put in the food, that are put in the system and in the water and all this stuff. But you know, it's all contributing to the larger issue. But like little things like this we can do each day that can really protect us from a lot of degenerative issues, especially when it comes to your joints. Because the problem is, you might get a knee surgery, it might help you now, but in the future, like that doesn't mean the problem's solved. That means like you put a band-aid on a much bigger issue. Like if you repaired your knee but didn't, loosen up your hip, loosen up your ankles, then your knee is going to be subject to more stress, and it's a repaired knee, so it's even weaker than it was before. Do your ankles click too? Um, my one ankle clicks because I sprained it, but clicking's not necessarily wrong. Clicking just means that there's like an air pocket, and clicking could be a good thing or a bad thing. It could mean that you're loosening stuff up, that stuff's going back into place, or if the clicking gets less and less frequently, that's a really good sign. That means that things are starting to work properly.
May have been decaying for years, and you improve your chances of regaining pain-free positions and eventually range of motion. So that Zero program helped thousands of us get back the activities we love. Then,
If you could do this too, this is one of the greatest things ever. I don't get ankle locked or heel hooked because I do this. Graphic design shit, yeah.
through further gathering of data, I've established standards such as 20% of your body weight for 15 strict reps.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. I walk 60, 70% of the time. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Again, it is what it is, and it's like if you start doing these things, maybe you'll see results right away. Maybe it'll take longer. If it's causing you pain, then it's something. If it's not causing you pain, then it could just be a sign that something's misaligned. So, be more cautious of it, stretch it out, do things to, take care of it and prevent any, sort of injury. Like my hip right now, it doesn't hurt really, but it's just like painful when I do certain things, when I'm fighting. And yeah, I do jujitsu. I used to train kickboxing too, but it's just like it's not as exciting. It's not as fun either. Um, but like my hip right now is tight. It doesn't really hurt, but like it's so tight that like I can foresee something going wrong in my right leg because I can't move it like my left leg. So like I'm actively trying to fix it. I'm actively trying to rehab it, and it's like it'll be good in a week or two, but like still like I'm kind of babying it right now. It's always good to be a little more careful than not be.
That's not perfect. It's a guide where no guide existed. So for me, it's really simple. Same me without a route, surgeries, painkiller addiction, icing my knees 4
Yes,
times just to
still
get through the day
mad.
and having to give up my sport. Same me after not having to do anything for treatment. 10 years without a setback. Achieved my lifelong dream of dunking. And when I play basketball, it feels like I'm dreaming because it feels so good. So I get overly enthusiastic, but you don't even need any.
Really enough. I'm not really in pain. Okay. I mean, that's good. That's good. Pain isn't always gonna be there though. The thing is, like, you could be pain free, be one bad step away from an injury. So it's like if you're overall tight, maybe might be assigned to kind of start taking accountability for that. Start taking a little bit of action. And it's not even big things like you just stretch like 5 to 10 minutes a day. Most of these issues go away, and that's the biggest thing. It's like just a little bit of stretching each day goes a long way. And um, if you're gonna do one stretch your hip flexors, and that pretty much like if your hip flexors are tight, then everything else in your body's gonna be tight. If your hip flexors are loose, then a lot of other stuff are just gonna loosen up naturally. Because you're I don't know how to spell it. If you look at this is your psoas muscle. So your psoas muscle is the only thing that connect your it goes right here. It's right on the front and it connects your hip to your low back. So like a lot of times people will have back pain, but it's really their hip. It's really from their hip. Or if they have pain at the back of their hip, like on their butt, it could literally just be because of this tight muscle. And this is what causes a lot of back issues because think our psoas is shortened all day while we're sitting. And like when you're standing, it's naturally stretched. But if you stretch this muscle, a lot of the other issues kind of go away because this is where tightness starts. Your muscle right here, your psoas, it is literally connected to your fight or flight. Like it's a fight. It's connected to your adrenaline system somehow. I can't remember where I read it. I wish I could because then I'd cite it. But it's connected to your adrenaline system. So like if you're stressed out, if you're anxious, it's going to cause your hips to tighten up. So just know that like if you all of a sudden get really tight, that might be a sign you're stressed out. Yeah, exactly.
Equipment. It can help long term. I make this stuff in America with any exercise. He was chasing the perfect rep. I'm willing to post this is because he posted on his Instagram. That's not what made the athlete. I would want 12-year-old me to have this. Let's take the goals here. Super simple. With any amount of lifting your own heel, and you could keep it down. But whatever you have to, you're trying to get the hamstring to cover
This
the
is
without
if
the
you
back.
can do this, then your knees are healthy. So this is like the golden rule. But a lot of people can't do this, so he's going to show the regressed form. Wait right now. Or is he making it easy? Okay, maybe he doesn't show it in this video. But like any sort of split squat where you put your knee over your toe is going to be a good start for this. You don't necessarily have to do exactly what he did, but if you can just squat with your knee over your toe, that's a really, really good way to start doing this. Probably stretch that. Just do this. This is the most basic one, and if you consistently do this, that's enough. Um, this might be the best one. Again, it's called the couch stretch. This guy's doing it against the wall, but you can literally do it on a couch. See how he's doing it right here? If you just put it on a bench, if you put it on a couch, if you put it on your bed or something, and all you do is squeeze your butt, squeeze your glute, and you'll literally feel this instantly because it's gonna stretch your hip flexor and it's gonna stretch your quad as well. And your quad is what goes into your hip flexor. Like the muscles around something, if you can loosen the muscles around something, it's always gonna loosen everything else up. The back muscles near the hip, right here. The back muscles near the hip, this is the best thing you can do. Your gym probably doesn't have this. Where does it say how long these videos are?
Extension machine, fine. It actually at the bottom of the lift, up on a bar. They try to set something up at their gym.
Just gonna go ahead and step in and strap.
All right, so this is a low back strengthening and a low back decompressing thing. If you squat a lot, this is like one of the best things you can do.
You're nice and even. You're gonna just kind of jump up.
You
to
showed a
about
skeleton
hip
of it.
level.
Well, it shows where the muscle is. I can't show you on
Grab
me
onto the
because
bar, make sure your back is nice and flat.
I'll get banned for showing you that area of me.
It's very crucial that you control the weight.
So as you're going up, it's a strengthening thing, and as you're going down, it is decompression of the spine.
And you can see how
Your
much
gym
the
might
spine
not
is
have
moving
this,
here, as
but
well the
you
back
can
is moving. Everything else is neutral. We see a lot of people doing a lot of weird stuff with their
Hey everyone, don't extend my legs back and my hamstrings for working on straddles. You're going to get more merit from doing straddle-based reverse hypers. If you're trying to get more
this is like if your low back hurts you, this looks so sus. You might want to just do this at home.
full, so you're doing like a full back lever, for
Well,
example.
this will
really
literally
difficult
light up your
without
entire
arching
low
the back.
back.
I'd go more
And you're gonna
towards
feel
the
great
legs
after.
together.
I don't want you to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't show you. That's why I used images.
Reverse
But
hyper
this will
exercise.
help your low back.
In terms of micro adjusting the intensity of the exercise, it's always
That's a really good that's a really good. Try this right now. Yeah, no, try the couch stretch. And you know, this is the hardest version. It's not so loud. Alright, you don't need any of this explanation. So see how he just has his foot up? You just want to stretch your and your hip at the same time. And you want to keep your body upright too and just push through your hip. You can try to touch your butt to your heel. It makes it harder, but you can also try to push your hip forward. It's gonna both ways will stretch. I'm not sure which one's better. It's really just like a personal thing what you feel more. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're anything good down here. Oh yeah, we'll watch the stream. It's a good video though.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. One of one.
Actually, this guy's ex yesterday. He's one of my favorite people that I follow there.
Is in the building. Today, we are diving into the timeless wisdom of Hippocrates, who a lot of people say.
If Thor's watching this, no offense.
He's the father. He's the founding father of modern medicine. Debatable.
So Hippocrates was the first person to combine the metaphysical aspect and the physical aspect of healing. He was really part of a healing cult, and it's really interesting to see that like doctors today still take his oath, but they don't consider the metaphysical aspects of health. They don't consider the soul. They don't consider the spirit.
But that, my friends, is a conversation for another day, because his quotes over 2,000 years ago, they still hold weight in understanding health and well-being. And the more you get into his work, the more you realize the further modern medicine has strayed away from these timeless and most insightful teachings. So let's dive right in. One of his most famous quotes, the number one quote, is "Doctor's first commandment, do no harm." And this principle highlights.
Ironic, right? It's crazy how many doctors sacrifice the health of the patient for their bank accounts. And like it's because a study says something is correct. Like it doesn't mean you have to operate. It doesn't mean you have to open up this patient. Like why don't you see how healthy they could become? Like in Eastern traditional medicine, the the best doctors had zero patients. The best doctors did not have reoccurring visitors. But in the West, the best doctors have the most patients. They have the most clients. They have the most people that continue to see them. It's like if you're really that good of a healer, people shouldn't be coming back to you. Your goal is that they never see you again. Your goal is that they never even think about you again. I also like to arch my back. Pause, pause. Enlarged. Pause, pause. Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying, but you said it in such a weird way. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's just Kundalini. This is just Kundalini. It's the spot. It's the root chakra to the crown chakra.
Highlights the importance of medical ethics and caution in treatment, which emphasizes that a physician's job is to avoid causing harm to a patient. And it reminds us that the goal of medicine is to heal and alleviate suffering, not to.
Yeah. And it's so sad that the idea is that medicine will heal and not the body. You realize every single medicine uses the reaction of the body to heal, but we could also get the same reaction from the body in a different way. We could do it in a different manner, in a least invasive way, because the least invasive action is always the best course of action. Like you never want to go through a surgery where you could just cure it without the surgery. You never want to take a drug when you could just change your diet. You know what I mean? Like whatever is going to throw off the systems in your body the least is always the best thing to do, because your body's a chain. If one thing gets messed up, what do you think that's going to do the rest of it? What is it going to do long term? What are the implications of some of these things? And the problem is these things aren't studied because you can't study it. It's like a lawsuit for a class action lawsuit because you worked at a certain factory for X amount of years. A lot of people can't get in on class action lawsuits because they can't prove that that 1 or 2 years caused the cancer because they smoked their entire lives. And it's like it's so ridiculous how the system works and how these things have to be proven, but it's just it's really really dumb to me. And that's why these studies will never get done. That's why the studies on the impacts of fluoride and on the impacts of all these other things, they'll never get done because how do you even track it? The food's so poisoned. How can you say that this stuff comes from this chemical or this chemical? It's just wild to me.
To make it worse. And according to the BMJ, that's the British Medical Journal, medical errors claim the lives of 251,000 Americans each year. That is the third leading cause of death.
That's the science.
That puts it higher on the list than accidents, strokes, respiratory disease, Alzheimer's. The only conditions
Trust
that
the
cause
science.
more deaths than medical malpractice
Trust the
heart disease
science.
and cancer. So why are we still calling these people experts? Why is no one being held accountable? Not only have they
I'm not saying that like some of these things aren't like people trying to save their lives and then they like obviously there's a lot of great people in the medical industry, but like why are we not allowed to question, some of the money behind it? Why are we not allowed to question some of the system behind it? Like ultimately we are the ones contributing to the health system. Ultimately our tax dollars are going to subsidize these pharmaceutical companies and subsidize these doctors and these surgeries and these health insurance programs. And it's like why are we not allowed to question these things? Why as a society are we not allowed to look into these things and really see the long-term effects, see the long-term impacts? Like why are all of these degenerative issues getting higher and higher in young individuals? Because it's one thing for you to actively harm yourself, it's one thing for you to actively eat poor food, but when that starts to spread to your child and you don't give them a fair shake at life, like that's when it that's when it comes like I'm all for personal sovereignty. I'm all for you do what you want, I'll do what I want. But like when we start putting these things on kids, when we start having these shitty school lunches and all these poison food lunches, like what the fuck?
they not cured a single disease, all of the diseases are actually getting worse. If they were in any other profession, they would have all been fired by now. But the truth is, they are really just salesmen, and they are salesmen for Big Pharma. This is a total conflict of interest, and it's time we put our people before profits. A second quote from Hippocrates: declare the past, diagnose the present, foretell the future. So this quote speaks to the holistic.
Yeah, yeah. And not to say that the regulation isn't necessarily wrong, because there are bad people and there are people that are going to be snake oil salesmen. The reason it's called snake oil salesman is because there were people that used to say, I have this miracle elixir, and it was just nonsense. So like there I guess there does have to be some regulation if people aren't going to educate themselves on what can really heal them, but like it's just really sad.
Holistic approach that Hippocrates advocated for.
Dude, Uncrustables are the greatest thing you can ever eat. How the fuck would anybody eat that?
Understanding of a patient's history, their current condition, and potential future challenges.
White bread is bread that has all of the nutrients taken out of it, all of the wheat germ taken out of it, and injected with artificial chemicals that are supposed to replace.
That allow for comprehensive and proactive healthcare strategies. And this means.
Pretty sure they bleach the bread, and that's why it becomes white. And like it's so crazy to me that white bread is popular, but like whole grain bread isn't. People have lived off bread for thousands of years, and I mean, they wonder why people are allergic to gluten now. It's like one, gluten really wasn't that big of an ingredient in most breads back in the day, and two, a lot of it is like the processes that it goes through. So like maybe it's not even just the gluten, maybe it's the way it's treated, maybe it's the way that it gets combined with all of these things that can't be digested. Like maybe if it's a easier to digest bread, maybe it's not as big of an issue, man. This is a study that will never be done because who's to make money off this? That's the issue. These studies don't get done because nobody makes money off them. We can just speculate. We can just say these things, but they'll never be accepted because no one will ever make money off of them.
Spending more time than just 10 minutes with a patient to find out what they've been eating, drinking, smoking, educate them as to why that is killing them, how that has either led them to a life of pain and suffering, or how it is leading them down that path into that direction. Once you find out what toxins got them there, then you can stop the excessive intake, you can fix the deficiencies that cause that, and then you can provide a realistic roadmap. But first, we have to admit what those toxins are. And it just so happens some of those toxins, these quote unquote experts, are actually calling vitamins. And that's a
This guy's really against vitamin D, vitamin A.
video for another day.
I'll let him
Quote
talk
number
about it. He's
3,
better to talk
walking
about it.
is man's best medicine. Hippocrates knew we were bipedal creatures. Hippocrates knew we were designed to walk and run. He recognized the importance of physical activity. He said walking is man's best medicine, and he understood the benefits of movement for maintaining health, particularly in stimulating circulation and supporting blood flow and well-being. Our calf muscles are our second heart. They literally call the calf muscle the second heart because they squeeze the veins in the lower leg.
This is really interesting. I've never heard this anywhere else. What's up, Jessica? Jessica, you missed it. We were going over health this whole time. Yeah. I'm not going to read that, but overall, I think the health of the individual is the responsibility of the individual. Like when we start like shaming each other for our medical decisions, that's where we become more and more like 1984, more and more like an authoritarian state. And it's like the sad thing is like the people that say my body, my choice were for the mandates. That's what I don't understand. It's like be consistent, be consistent.
To help return deoxygenated blood from the feet back up to the chest. With this second heart, it only starts pumping when your legs move. And this is the problem when so many people are sedentary, sitting, standing all day long, parking in the handicap spots when they really don't deserve to be parked there, using a wheelchair at the amusement park.
Is that you, Hypnodia?
You're seeing way more people using the motorized wheelchair.
Hypnodia goes to Walmart and uses the. What is that noise? The wind? It's actually really windy right now. It's weird. Shaming doctor. Yeah, we found out that Hypnodio goes to Walmart and uses the scooters.
You got to move your body. Quote number 4, before you heal someone, you got to ask him if he is willing to give up the things that make him sick. This is massive. This is all about patient empowerment, responsibility, accountability, and now we can get into some serious health measures.
You know what it is. Can you guys hear that? It's like my entire apartment's shaking right now. I guess it's really windy outside. That's weird. It's like freaking me out because the headphones are like stopping me from hearing it. You know what it is. They were
management. This highlights the importance of lifestyle choices and the choices that you make that impact the health outcomes on your life. He also said illnesses do not come upon us out of the blue. They are developed from small daily sins against nature, and when enough sins have accumulated, illnesses will suddenly appear. It's not bad luck. It's not genetics. Okay, you did something
as long as you
get
guys
yourself
don't
to
hear
where
it.
you're at, and now you have to do something new to fix the damage that was done. And you can't fix that damage in a week juice cleanse. You can't fix it in a month protocol, a bottle of supplement. You have to make a lifestyle change and stick to that change for this year, next year, and all the years moving forward, because the better you'll feel, the easier it'll be to stick with it. Quote number 5, natural forces within us are the true healers of disease. Hippocrates knew, he acknowledged the body's innate healing abilities, and he advocated for treatments that support and enhance these natural processes rather than merely just support.
This is just so weird. It's like freaking me out. I'm gonna turn on my heat so the air doesn't come out. I think that might work. I think we're just letting in the air.
Suppressing symptoms. A lot of the medicines, big pharma and alternative and the natural side, guys, big supplement is the new big pharma, and a lot of these supplements.
Yeah, this guy's really good in terms of like I like his approach where he's like the natural solution over everything. Like maybe you don't agree with everything he says, but overall he's just giving a different opinion, a different option. I really like appreciate people that say things like that. Like even if we disagree, I don't disagree with this guy in general, but like even if you disagree with somebody, like try to see the other perspective, try to see the other side.
supplements are actually the herbs that they use to make
You
big pharma
actually
drugs,
handy.
right? And how do they work? They slow down and inhibit your detox enzymes. They mask symptoms. You think you're feeling better. It just gets hidden deeper and deeper in your liver, deeper in other tissues until that rainy day comes along. Quote number 6, tell me what you eat and I will tell you what illness you have. This guy knew that diet plays a very
You heard that right. Tell me what you eat, and I'll tell you your illness. There's so many adverse health effects from everything we eat, and I want you to understand that like the foods that make you be like, I can't digest this, this makes me go to the bathroom right away, like those aren't things you should be putting in your body.
very significant role on humans' overall wealth and health, well-being.
I'm not reading
Most doctors
that.
today, you ask them if diet
I
has
just
anything
said
to do with
after
it,
that.
and they just say, nope, just genetics. Genetics loads the gun, environment pulls the trigger. So what's the environment?
That's a big one. Everyone thinks that they're limited by their genetics. Like for the longest time, I was like, oh, I just have bad hair genetics, and it's like, no, if I'm eating dairy, I have no right to say I have bad hair genetics because I'm eating things that my body can't absorb.
Things you put in your mouth, the things you put on your skin, and for some of you out there, the homes you live in, the office space you spend most of your time working in, these can also be hidden sources of toxins. Maybe there's mold in the home, maybe there's
Guys, real quick, again, I use this. You don't have to use this, but the air in my apartment's so bad. I have this ozone machine. All you do is, I'm not going to turn it on right now because you can't be in the room when it's on. But what it does is it just, you know how it smells after a thunderstorm? This machine literally just does that. So like I'll leave to go to the gym. I'll turn it on for 30 minutes because you have to be out of the room for like 30 to 45 minutes after. Read the directions. I'm not a salesman or anything, but it makes my room smell so good. And when I moved to this apartment, I got sick like 2 to 3 times. Like my nose was so stuffed up, and I live in a really industrial city, and like this has just helped me like stay healthy. No, yeah, once you start cutting out processed foods, you're just like, oh my God, I wasn't, I wasn't prone to illness. I was just eating poorly.
mold in
I
the
wasn't
office.
prone to hair loss. I
Quote
just
number
ate
7,
poorly.
if we could give every individual the right amount of nourishment and exercise,
It creates ozone. So like after a thunderstorm, do you know how it smells? That's just how it smells. It just purifies the air.
not too little and not too much, we have found the safest way to health. Balance in all things. This is the key to achieving optimal health. How many people are overtraining? How many people are overeating? How many people are taking too many supplements? For everyone who's not doing enough, there's people doing too much. And this is one of the ways I became vitamin A toxic, from doing all the supplements, from eating all the color
Just so you guys know, whey protein's a waste byproduct of the dairy industry. I would not suggest whey protein for anybody.
plants. And when you look back to nature, we didn't have access to all these supplements. We didn't have access to all these colorful seasonal plants 365 days a year. And when you find out how the system in the liver works, you realize that a lot of these vitamins, fat soluble things like vitamin A and vitamin D, you can actually get too much of these things. And that is part of the reason that so many people are sick.
Too much of anything's not good. And the problem is like even some of the vitamins, like you'll read the package, you'll read what it's supposedly doing. Sometimes your body can't utilize it, so it's literally just getting stored in some weird place in your body, in some fat cell, in some, muscle cell. Like it's really not good to get vitamins from not a whole source, not a source of food, not a plant, not a herb. Like if you're taking a chemical, you can't read it, your body probably can't absorb it. That's like a general rule.
Sick, obese, anxious, and angry, their livers are overburdened with fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A. Quote number 8, to do nothing.
And again, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm sorry. I still have energy drinks. That's the last thing I'm trying to cut out. I've been pretty good. Um, I think I eat much sushi. I think I'm not good enough about, eating vegetables. I eat a lot of fruit, but I'm not good enough for eating vegetables. But I'm trying to be better. I'm not a vegetarian. Oh.
Nothing is sometimes a good remedy. Hippocrates knew the body's capacity for self-repair. Sometimes advice.
There's a book. Um, Hold on, real quick. How do you spell mucus? You guys should read this book. I've suggested this book before, but it didn't get a lot of views. You guys should read this book if you want to hear what this guy's talking about. This is one of the greatest books you'll read in terms of health. Super buried. Nobody respects this guy, but this guy was onto something. It's pretty similar to Fit for Life, but this gives you charts of the most acidic foods, and you have to understand that like your body, whenever it eats, it becomes acidic, and anything acidic is not going to be able to repair itself. But when it becomes alkaline, when it becomes balanced, when it's not in a acidic state, that's when it can heal itself. That's when it can repair itself. But most people are in an acidic state all day.
Advising against unnecessary intervention when the body could heal itself given time and rest. You stop putting in the toxins, you fix the deficiencies those toxins
Well, I can't spell mucus.
caused, you do less, and then your body becomes the miracle.
If you guys couldn't tell, I can't spell at all. I'm terrible at spelling. I'm terrible at grammar. I can speak very, very well, but when it comes to like I'm struggling with those things. Yeah, no, I did a video on it too, so you could just look it up. He's got a cool mustache. Yeah, this guy's really cool.
And number 9, everything in excess is opposed to nature. Milk in excess, eggs
Hear
in
that?
excess,
Hear
colorful
that?
plants in excess, multivitamins in excess, multi-ingredient supplements are the top.
I mean, I would guess so. I mean, if it's not normal blood, then it's probably bad for you. Like if you're called acidic and it's not normal, I don't know if blood's acidic or not, but I don't think it would be good.
Top cause of liver injuries at hospitals. Okay, multi-ingredient supplements. You cannot replicate nourishment in a small pill. You can't replicate.
So Pythagoras, this is one of the funniest stories over here. Pythagoras, he was a cult leader. He wasn't actually just a mathematician. He was a cult leader. He invented numerology. It's another form of like astrology, divination. But basically, there was people whose bodies wouldn't work, so he couldn't heal them in that way. So like, if their mind was not able to do things, he would force them to stare at like geometric shapes like cubes or spheres or more fine or more rough substances, and it would do something to their mind. It would like reset their subconscious. He would also make them do math. You guys didn't hear that? He would make them do math so that basically they would like sharpen their subconscious and rewire some things in their brain. I'm pedantic with what I can be. Bro, stop rubbing it in. Why is this cold? This isn't supposed to be. Say, can you guys hear my air conditioner or no? I can't tell. I'll turn it off. It's loud. Yeah, my grammar is terrible. All right. I queued up a few more videos.
We are currently in the midst of a Hermetic revival, and at the heart of this return of ancient knowledge is the 7 Hermetic principles. The 7 Hermetic principles are laws that govern this reality. These governing principles are most.
The 7 Hermetic principles, like, you don't have to believe in Hermeticism, but you see them in every religion on a basic level. Once you start listening to videos on 1.5 speed, you can never go back.
Well known in modern times through the book The Kabbalion. However, their
One of the best books you will ever read. This book is just so interesting.
origins are as obscure and ancient as the mystical figure that they are attributed to, Hermes Trismegistus. There is vivid dispute as to.
Some people believe that Hermes Trismegistus actually lived. Some people believe that he didn't. Some people believe that he was just a combination of Thoth and Hermes. But yeah.
The true identity of Hermes Trismegistus. Contemporary academia believes this character to be entirely fictitious, a compilation of Hellenistic viewpoints that was compiled by what you would call an ancient think tank, while modern mystics and the more spiritually inclined alike know him to be dated way further back than the Hellenistic period, for he is the transmitter and teacher.
My stream's being weird. Of course, this is not working. Damn, I've been live for an hour.
Of ancient knowledge to the prophet Moses, if not Moses himself, for he has been affirmed by early Kabbalists as Moses. Suffice it to say that these.
Some people think he was contemporary. Some people think he was Moses. Other people think he's Pythagoras. It's all like speculation.
Principles, although best preserved and transmitted through the vehicle of Hermeticism, are of such a universal and timeless origin that they truly belong to time immemorial, for they
He also wrote the Emerald Tablets.
are indeed timeless and ancient wisdom that belongs to no one school of thought. The principles are 7. First, we have the law of mentalism, then the law of correspondence, then the law of vibration, then the law of polarity. After that, we have the law of rhythm, cause and effect, and gender.
Hold on, go back. Mentalism is all is mind. Your world is created by your mind. Correspondence is as so below, as within, so without. The internal world reflects the external, or the external world reflects the internal world. Vibration is everything's vibrating, everything's resonating at a certain frequency, and if you want to change your frequency, you will change your reality. Polarity is everything is on a sliding scale. Are we talking about reincarnation? Um, Yeah, no, these videos are, I love these videos. It's so fun that we can do stuff like this now. Polarity is just there's a sliding scale. So like love's here, hate's here, and everything in between is just, it's all the same thing. It's just put in different, like there's people that believe that there's no such thing as clear good, clear evil. There's just a sliding scale because even the most generous gift inherently could be wrong because you're not giving it to the right person. Like think about things in like that. Like inherently some evil is going to come from some good. Like it's all just a sliding scale. They're all just varying degrees of the same thing.
The principle of mentalism.
Oh shit,
The all
I didn't mean to do that. Oh my god, this is so hard. Rhythm, I can't remember what rhythm is. Cause and effect is obviously cause and effect, and gender is active passive principle. I cannot remember what rhythm is for.
The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains
This is law of assumption, law of
that
attraction.
the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all our material universe, is in short spirit. And spirit, although undefinable, is likened unto the infinite living mind. The principle of correspondence.
This is
as
really
above,
important.
so below. As within, so
If you talk about Hermeticism, you're going to hear this, as above, so below. This is like the most famous saying for Hermeticism.
without. As the universe, so the soul. The truth that is embodied within this principle is that there is always a correspondence between the laws and the phenomena of the various planes of being and life. The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below, as below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one of the means of solving.
I mean, it's not necessarily the law of assumption, but like the law of assumption derives from these things. Like these are the seven fundamental things that everything, like if you understand these things, you understand any esoteric principle. So like if you want to start reading about esoteric stuff, like this is a really good place to start because it gives you all the basics in one place. Like Manly P. Hall will give you the history behind it, but this is rhythm is the pattern that leads to the melody. Oh, okay.
Many a dark paradox. Now,
That
I
makes
personally
sense.
find this law to be the most helpful when seeking clarity, because what it is saying is that by us knowing our own nature, by us knowing our own mind, and by us knowing the world around us, it is reflecting what is happening and taking place in the worlds and the planes of consciousness above us. So the more we study the below, we are able to understand and
They're just integrating the shadow. It's like Jung knew all this stuff.
comprehend the above. This is vital to be aware of as a seeker of truth, because now we are able to tell what's happening in the cosmos and what's taking place in the higher planes of consciousness by simply observing the world around us. And
This is literally that quote of Nietzsche that I showed yesterday, that for a tree to reach heaven, its roots have to be in hell.
most
Isn't it
importantly,
crazy how
our
everything's
internal
just the
landscape.
same?
The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates.
This one pisses me off so much. Everyone understands that we're all moving, we're all, kind of vibrating at a certain frequency. We don't have a frequency, but nobody wants to take it further than that. Like we learn in first day of physics that this is true, but everyone thinks it's crazy to listen to frequencies. Everyone thinks it's crazy to think that, this is affecting me. My laptop's affecting me. The ring light, the camera, they're all affecting me in some way. And it's not to say it's a huge effect, but to not even acknowledge it is crazy because like we all have to understand that these things are affecting us, and we can start arguing about how much. But like, I think it's dumb to just disregard these things.
This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, and nothing is ever truly at rest. This principle explains that the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely just from varying rates of vibration. It has been said that one who truly understands this law of vibration is one who has grasped the scepter
Almost like this is how the pyramids were built. The roots are as big as branches.
of power, because within this law, we are able to understand that everything in existence is expressed through
It's
vibration,
so crazy how
and that
Tesla
there are
understood
just
all
simply
these
different
things.
rates of vibration.
And really,
And
Tesla
within
was
these
just
different
like an
rates of
occultist.
vibration our entire
I mean, you can call him a scientist, you can call him an inventor, but he's really just a cultist because a cultist means hidden. He really just rediscovered old practices and is seen as a genius through ancient Egyptian practices. Like,
entirely different realms of experience and of creation. So when we know that all is truly vibration, then we also know that by raising the vibration of our consciousness,
this is very important. This image alone should show you the importance of this law because what we choose to emanate is what we're surrounded by. Going to get into this sort of mindset, if you're going to get all up in arms about the election, then this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to get all upset. Look at the kid just looking at these people. This is how I view everyone that's crying over the election. This is how you should be. You should be at peace with everything.
that now we unlock access to the manifestations that we wish to create, which are vibrating at that.
No good idea can come from this vibration. No good idea can flow from this. But look at this. Everything's in harmony. Everything's flowing. Look at the waves. Yeah, yeah.
That level of reality. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet.
I think the best description of this, I just remembered it just now, is temperature. Like at what point is it hot and what point is it cold? It's just varying degrees. There's no such thing as hot and cold. It's just different degrees of temperature. Because like at a certain point, like when is it hot? When is it cold? You can kind of understand it from that analogy.
All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. This principle embodies the truth that everything is dual. Everything has two poles. Everything has its pair of opposites, all of which were old Hermetic axioms.
Yeah,
Everything
just
is
wrong.
and is not at the same time.
We should get someone to draw some of the things I'm talking about, right? If I scripted a video and we hired someone to do this, I think that'd be a good idea. I think that would be an interesting. Books was Tesla reading? What did he have access to? I don't know. I don't know. Some of these things, I don't think. I think there's a lot of people that don't necessarily need the books. I think they just see these things and run with them, and they kind of just figure these things out for themselves. Because I mean, there has to be a reason that all of these ancient civilizations basically believe the same thing. The Book of the Celestine Prophecy. I've never read it. No, should I read it? Is it something I should?
All truths are but half truths. Every truth is half false. There are two sides of everything. It explains that in everything there are two poles, or opposite
Look at
aspects,
the waves.
and that opposites are really only the two extremes of the same thing. The example the Kabbalion gives us is that there is no such thing as absolute heat or absolute cold. The two terms heat and cold simply indicate varying degrees of the same thing, and that same thing, which manifests as heat and cold, is merely a form, a rate of vibration. So heat and cold are simply the two poles of that which we call heat. The same principle manifests in the case of light and
From this one, though, I think one of the important takeaways is like energy is, I mean, emotions are all kind of the same. Like they're just varying degrees and they're displaced in certain ways. So, like, if you find yourself being extremely angry, you can also be extremely positive. You can be extremely uplifting. Like it's how we choose to use this energy. We can use it for bad or we can use it for good. It comes from the same place. It emanates from the same part of your soul, from the same part of your psyche, and it's just like, where are we giving it to? What are we giving it to? Just a good observer of nature. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what Isaac Newton was. That's what Einstein was. Like, some people are just born with it. Um, to a certain degree, I was, but I had to unlearn a lot of the stuff that I learned in school. I absorb things like a sponge. So, like, if I'm surrounded by negative influences, then I'll pick that up. If I'm surrounded by positive influences, I'll pick that up. Like, genuinely, I'm not that smart. I'm just really good at absorbing information. I don't think that makes me particularly intelligent though. I think it's just a natural talent. I think like problem solving, there's definitely a lot of people a lot better than me. I might come up with a really creative solution, but it's not consistent. So
darkness, which are the same thing. The difference consisting of varying degrees between these two poles of the same phenomena. So what you really have is the absence of light, or the presence of light. And when there is an absence of light, that is what we call darkness, although they are just
so it's almost like Lao Tzu was onto something.
two poles of
His Lao Tzu's philosophy is so simple yet so complex. I really have to go over Tao Te Ching, but I have to go through it again because I don't remember. I know what Taoism is, but I don't remember
that one thing, that one phenomenon.
So funny. I know Tao really well, but I don't know what the book that literally inspired Tao is.
This law of polarity can best improve our lives by giving us the clarity to view the world around us. How many times have we seen a
It's almost like this is the election personified.
opposing forces act identical in nature? How many times have we loved so much that it turned into its polar opposite, hate? And how many times have we cared so much that it traveled all the way over to its polar opposite, numbness? These are all different examples of the law of polarity and how one energy gets split into polar opposites
It's the
along
hot
the
and cold,
spectrum.
push and pull.
The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out
Here
and
we
in.
go.
Everything has its tides.
Okay, I remember what this is. This is like there's no good without any bad. There's no ups without downs. Like it's just life finds a way of balancing things.
All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. This principle embodies the truth that in everything there is manifested a measured motion to and from, a flow and inflow, a swing backward and forward, a pendulum-like movement. This law is so important because when we are
I'm visualizing that
what
right
we
now.
see
Like I don't.
inside this age, if we don't have knowledge of the law of rhythm, we won't understand that this is actually a redemption
Send
arc.
something in Discord.
There
I'll
is some
remember
sort
it.
of return that is happening, meaning that if there was ever a group of people, or let's just call it a movement, some sort of thought form, even if it's ancient knowledge, whatever it is that
This is almost like what we're seeing right now. Like the left pushed so far that the right's pushing back. Story that teaches the history.
was once suppressed, it will now come in to its complete opposite, its hero redemption arc. So when we are using the law of rhythm,
Like the left pushed so far, and now Trump's pushing back with it. Like I bet you we're about to see a real big shift in things, and for the next 10 years, the Republicans, the conservatives are going to start dominating. You know, in terms of corporations, in terms of messaging, in terms of censorship. Like I think people on the left are about to start getting censored, or censorship's going to go away, and we're going to see the reason for these big tech companies really censoring things because we're going to see some crazy shit. You know what I mean?
we are actually understanding the larger context of
Like if you go on Twitter today, like the shit people are saying, I'm not saying that like like they should have a right to say these things, but not in the public sphere. Like the things that people are saying is like borderline like okay, like what positive aspect of this is like social media is supposed to bring people together. Like it shouldn't be so negative. Like there should be some checks and balances because like the censorship has almost made people more crazy. Like whenever you say not to do something, that means somebody's going to do it. Whenever you tell people that they're evil, they might not start out evil, but they might turn evil. You know what I mean? Like it's always the shadow building and expressing itself, and it's like there's so many unhappy people that this unhappiness is really going to come out on others. Have you looked in? That's interesting. Overton window. Yeah. I think like anyone that says they're a free speech absolutist is an idiot because there's protections on free speech for a reason. Like you shouldn't be able to protest at a jail. You shouldn't be able to yell fire in a movie theater. Like free speech absolutist means that that's not the case. Like it's really dumb and like yeah, people should be able to express themselves, but there's a manner of expressing yourself in a respectful way and a manner that isn't. And again, we get into the issue of who's censoring things, but like overall, I think en masse people can accept certain things and won't accept certain things. So it's like there's never going to be a good way to censor things. There's never going to be a good way to censor ideas. But if you're going to say something, just be respectful about it. I think that's the golden rule. Yeah, yeah. I think self censorship's the only way. Not that it's not that you should censor your message, but you censor the way you say it. If everyone could say things in a respectful manner, then I think we should be allowed to express our ideas. But until that, I don't think we should be given free reign because there's so many people out there with terrible ideas and they don't say it in a manner where they're willing to change it. They don't say it from a place of love. They say it from a place of hate. And nothing good comes from hate. So I mean these aren't like easy issues to solve. I just think it's not a black and white answer like should we have censorship or should we not? Like overall I want to lean to no censorship, but like you can also see where that could kind of not be a good thing. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's asking a lot from people. being respectful. I mean, like you see the people freaking out right now that the person that they wanted to win didn't win. Like,
of what's happening inside this age because we're viewing it now through its proper lens. We can better understand that all of the overarching themes that we see taking place within this age are actually coming from a larger cycle. When we possess the knowledge of this law of rhythm, we are able to perceive an inevitable pendulum-like swing that takes place within movements and within consciousness.
if you guys are like paying attention to the trends, I think religion is coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance. Like for a long time, atheism was the way, but like if you look at the younger generations, like a lot of them are like reposting like Christian TikToks. Like they're cringy as hell, but like it's good to see that people are at least believing in something after believing in nothing for so long.
And however strong of a degree that was pushed to one side of the pendulum will be the exact intensity that that pendulum swing carries out to its opposite. Knowing this is how the alchemists extract themselves from this momentum of karma. And then we consciously position ourselves wherever we want to in this pendulum swing. And
You hear that? You can avoid this by understanding the law of rhythm. So if you understand that you're on the back end of this pendulum swing, pull yourself out of this and reposition yourself back here.
by consciously choosing our position there, then we neutralize ourselves there. And that's how we avoid the karmic momentum that's taking place to and from the cycles of nature. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause.
Wow.
Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation.
I think this is something like if you call it luck, it's not necessarily luck, it's just you can't explain why this thing happened to you. And like I mean we could get into like past lives, like there's the metaphysics behind gambling, the metaphysics behind winning the lottery is like maybe in a past life you built up a lot of good karma, or maybe you're supposed to learn a lesson from gaining this money. Like there's always a deeper meaning, there's always a deeper reason why you don't have what you want, or you just got it blessed with extraordinary luck. Like there's always some cause to it, and we're just not capable of seeing the whole picture. The universe en masse is cause and effect, but if we're so far removed from the effect or the cause, we don't exactly see what the bigger picture is.
But nothing escapes the law. This principle embodies the fact that there is a cause for every effect and an effect for every cause. It explains that everything happens according to law and that nothing is ever merely by chance. This law of cause and effect goes by an even more popular term known as karma. And what this law
I think karma is the best word for it, but like every single religion has a idea like karma. So like I was literally saying to my one friend, he's like, I don't believe in karma. I'm like, yes, you do. You believe in right and wrong. You believe that people reap what they sow. And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. And I'm like,
also contains within
it's
it
just
is the
like it's crazy how words make people afraid. Like it's not even the ideas, it's the words. They have a preconceived notion of the words, so they'll reject the idea. Yeah, yeah. And if you don't believe in past life karma, believe in ancestral karma. I'm not sure if you believe in reincarnation. I'm like 50-50. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But you can also chalk it up to like maybe your grandfather was an ass. Maybe this person did this, and you're atoning for their sins. You're trying to, break the generational curse. Think of it like that.
the knowledge that karma can reside on higher planes of consciousness, which means that the cause of whatever we're experiencing as the effect is not always coming from the material
Yeah,
realm. Knowing
yeah.
that there is always a cause and an effect at play can vastly improve our lives if
Hypnotic, have you read the book of your dad? I think you'd like it. One of the interesting ideas of it is like sin just means to get away from your goals. It just means that you messed up somewhere. And it's not a bad word, but we make it bad when we hide from it, when we don't take accountability, when we don't face these things, when we hide it from God, when we hide it from our consciousness. Like it's only a bad thing when we don't learn from it, when we don't accept it, when we start to shame it. When we start to shame it, then it becomes a part of ourselves that we don't want to accept. And we don't accept ourselves as the biggest, downfall in humanity.
if we use that knowledge the way that the ancient alchemists did, by shifting the way that we are affected by that cause. When we shift the way that we react to any response or stimulus, now we are able to transcend that karmic thread. This is first done by doing our best to understand what
Stoicism. It's crazy to see that like all these ideas kind of just hit what great philosophers are saying all of, you know Nietzsche, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, like all of these ideas are kind of similar and they all kind of branch off from these, bigger beliefs.
What originated that cause? What was the first action that caused that reaction? And then from there, choosing with our own conscious free will
You got a lot of generational curses.
to respond in a different manner rather than react from an
Sometimes, like, we don't even know what to attribute it to. Like, maybe you had a negative thought when you were 4 years old, and that could be the cause of, like, why certain things happen to you. You know what I mean?
automated state of unconsciousness. The alchemist applies their own consciousness and their own free will in order to shift cause.
I think
from
one of the
effect
best ways
and
to take it is that God only gives the hardest challenges to his best soldiers, his best individuals. Yeah, and that could also be like the one thing I would say about that is people talking about past lives. It could just be a unconscious collective consciousness memory because we all have access to the collective consciousness, and maybe that person's soul is somehow intertwined with yours. Maybe you're responsible for something about them. You know what I mean? Like it could just be that. So who's to say that's really you, or who's to say that that's your unconscious trying to tell you something about your future? The prodigal son. It's a bit hard.
shift the effect from its cause. The principle of gender states that gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes.
To get controversial. In terms of this, in terms of Hemenicism, masculine is the penetrating force, the conscious, and feminine is the unconscious, the receiver. We all have the conscious, unconscious. So our conscious is what is driving us throughout the day, and our unconscious is what is receiving the stimulus. So what receives the stimulus then gives out our mood for the next day, our sense of self, our overarching purpose. And when we can integrate the conscious with the unconscious, this is when we get into the enlightenment state. This is when we become one with God. This is when we become one with the universe.
This principle embodies the truth that there is gender manifested in everything. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as
It's not
sex.
gender
On
in
the higher
terms of
planes, it
like
takes higher
you're a
forms.
woman, you're
But the
a man.
principle is
It's
always the
gender
same.
in terms of
Everything and every person
giver
contains the
or
two elements.
receiver.
Every male thing has the female element
It's
within it,
the
and every female thing contains.
this is the it's the same thing. The upper triangle is the masculine. This is the feminine. This is the masculine. This is the giver. This is the receiver. It's in everything. This one's better because you can see this one's longer. The longer one is the masculine, the smaller one's the feminine. G is the generative principle. Life force energy. Where were we?
Contains the male element within it. The principle of gender is profoundly valuable because once we understand that we contain both masculine and feminine elements.
Everyone has masculine and feminine to a certain degree, and if you're looking for a partner, if you're looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't know your guys' gender, like you want a balance of like I would say I'm like certain days I'm 65-35, certain days I'm 70-30. Like that's really my scale. So like I want to find someone that's the opposite way. You know what I mean? Like and if you're extremely masculine, like you still have a feminine side to you, but you need to find someone extremely feminine, or it's not going to balance. It's all about balance. This is like one of the best ways to judge if a relationship's going to work out or not. Like if you're more masculine than not, then you're not going to want to argue. You're not going to want to deal with these things. But if you're more feminine, if you're more creative, if you're more this kind of side of things, like I'm not saying I'm like feminine in that sense, but like I am more creative. I'm more what is it, right brain? Right brain's the creative one. I'm whatever that is, that I'm more that than I really should be. So I have to look for someone that is a good balance of that.
To varying degrees and ratios. We can use that for mental creation. The same way on the physical plane that the masculine and feminine energies create life.
I'm also a Taurus, so Taurus is a feminine sign. So you tend to be more masculine or feminine too, based off astrology too. You can tell from that as well.
On the mental plane, we can use our masculine and feminine energies and the elements within us to create and to regenerate. We can apply this law.
If you look at astrology, like Aries women, Aries is a masculine sign. Aries women are more masculine than other signs too. It's cool how you can you can look at the astrology and tell these things.
To our mental creations by drawing them towards us with our magnetism. Our magnetism is a part of our emotional body, and the emotional body is our feminine elements. So when we combine our masculine energies, such as thought and action, with our feminine energies of magnetism coming from the emotional body and the emotional experience that we're calling forward through the sensations of our emotions.
Guys, you didn't see that.
What we're doing is amplifying our
You have
ability
no
to
idea, I
be
know what you're
magnetic.
thinking.
And just like a magnet, our creations get drawn forward and called to us. So unifying these two energies is how we call forward our manifestation.
Okay, I already talked about this. Who was the one saying that Plato's cave allegory? Was it you, Hypnodio? Remember that. That's super interesting. Yeah, no, I know the basic principle, but I don't remember it exactly. Are you guys cool with doing this, or you guys want to just talk about other stuff? Talk about books. We can do whatever. I just figured I'd ask. I'm having fun doing this, but if you guys want to go back to what we were originally doing in these streams, we can always do that. So just let me know. Um, I also did a new course too, so we can go through that as well if you want. Hopefully, I didn't spell anything wrong. Wrote it today while I was at the bookstore. I sat down. I was like, I'm so creative right now. I got to do something. I think it was pretty interesting, but I'll to you guys. All right.
Soren Kierkegaard was right. There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true. It's a fact that for most
But whatever you guys. Okay, okay. We'll just keep doing this. This is the easiest thing to. This is so easy for me to do. I can do this the rest of the night. So
of our lives, we humans unconsciously bask in ignorance. But sometimes, special people come along to wake us from this state that some would call bliss. In fact, the myth of the hero who brings wisdom, symbolized by light or fire, in a world of ignorance symbolized by darkness, is as old as humanity itself, and can be found in all cultures across works of literature and art. Take, for example, Plato's allegory of the cave. People usually learn about it in school when they make.
I think I learned about it in school. Okay, you're trying to. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I just want to make sure that everyone's like, because I don't know if people are coming here to just hear my input or watch me. Like, I don't know if this is entertaining. Like I can certainly rant for 4 straight hours. You guys know you guys have been here, so like if you want me to just do that, like we can do that in the future. We can do that now. Like just let me know what you guys prefer. But I think like it's nice to change it up, and it's nice to like this is like forcing me to have certain ideas. So it's if we have interesting videos to pull up, if we have interesting things to go over, like I think it could really just add to like it's really just we're hanging out watching videos together. I think it's kind of fun, but
make their first contact with the philosophers of old. But most of us are too young and inexperienced to fully understand its profound meaning and teachings until way later in life, when we start to question the reality that has been programmed into us and to form our own beliefs and values. When this moment comes, having a roadmap for the journey that one has to undertake and becoming aware of the obstacles that may emerge is a thing of utmost importance. And in today's episode, in collaboration with After School, we are going to explore this journey by dissecting Plato's allegory of the cave.
it's the hero's journey. What the hell is that? Dude, it's so crazy how much the street echoes.
Its connection to ancient myths, and the ultimate narrative archetype we know as the hero's journey. Plato's allegory of the cave is one of the most influential philosophical concepts ever introduced, encapsulating timeless questions about reality, knowledge.
Do you know what book this is from? Because I read a book by Plato. This is gonna sound fucking. Do not read Symposium. Do not read the Symposium. So stupid. Like, like half of the book. You know, you guys know how there's like the Greeks liking little boys. Half the book is that. Do not read it. It's not worth your. I'm like, I'm like when my girlfriend comes here sometimes, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna read a book. I'll give you a book to read, and I'm literally reading about Greek, old Greek philosophers liking little Greek boys. Like it's just like I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like I was like literally like trying to skim it as fast as I could, and I'm like, it's still fucking talking about this shit. Where I am, the stars are super clear. Dude, I'm in one of the most polluted cities in America, so I can't see that shit. I don't even think there's a single star in the sky.
Perception and enlightenment. Located in Plato's seminal work, The Republic, the allegory of the cave.
It's in the Republic. I love how I asked you where this came from, and it's literally right there. I have Aristotle's Metaphysics over there. I'm reading that right now. Show you guys the book I'm reading right now, real quick. So I got this book today. I'm about halfway through it. This is Kim Loose the Stranger. Um, Pretty good so far. Um, I realized I read it when I was a child. I don't remember. I remember one scene from it. I don't remember the like anything going up to it, and it is kind of crazy that I read this book as a child because I like it now. I don't think I liked it back then, but I'm interested in it now. This is notes from letter. I didn't know if it was notes or letters, but this is Dostoevsky. I read Crime and Punishment. I liked it, but again, this is before I even liked reading. So I wonder how I'll feel revisiting his ideas, and then I have metaphysics. Are you in rural PA or near Philly? But yeah, those are the next three things I'm gonna read. I still have to finish this book. I keep putting it off. I have so much. If you read Night by Elie Wiesel, I read one book by him. I can't remember. Um, we were forced to read one. I think we were forced to read his story. Is that the one? I can't remember. I just remember not. Um, I don't know. I just remember it being boring. It was just about like some tragedy. It's like, dude, I spent most of my childhood learning about tragedy. It's like maybe that's why I was like so anxious most of my life. And I'm not saying we shouldn't learn about these things, but like that shouldn't be the main focus of the education system. It should be inspiring people and inspiring people to see what humanity can become, not the drawbacks of humanity. Like children don't need to be taught that. It should be taught to, older people who are already inspired, who are already capable of creating great works. You would consider it rural or farms. No, I was gonna say I'm in South Jersey. That's why. It's like, yeah, we're close. But like when you say PA, that could be PA near Ohio.
It serves as a metaphorical narrative depicting the human condition's journey from ignorance to enlightenment. Embedded within this allegory are profound implications about the nature of knowledge and the transformative journey of gaining wisdom. The narrative echoes through numerous myths and philosophical
Yeah, see that.
discourses, bearing a particularly striking resemblance to the Greek myth of Prometheus and the archetypal hero's journey. In Plato's profound allegory, he uses the metaphor of a subterranean cave to illustrate a group of prisoners sequestered from birth. Their world is one of complete isolation, devoid of any contact with the external universe. Bound by chains and restricted in their movements, they are compelled to face the barren cave wall, deprived of the ability to swivel their heads or see beyond their immediate environment. An enigmatic fire positioned
Watch the election results.
behind them flickers dimly, barely illuminating their dreary surroundings. Periodically, individuals walk behind the prisoners, parading various figures.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just my school district or like an overarching thing, but like Dude, we didn't learn about anyone inspiring in history. It's just like I get learning about tragedies, but like why is all of like a children's education focused on how bad things are? You know what I mean? Like maybe this is why kids are so depressed because from childhood they're taught that they're evil inherently, and it's like yeah, human beings can be bad, but they can also be good. Like some of the greatest things, some of the most inspiring things came from some of the darkest days. Like it's really weird. I'll use the Kamala quote. It's only when it's dark can you see the stars.
These are representations of animals.
Do you guys believe I just quoted Kamala? Life is less horrific than I expected. Exactly, yeah.
Plants, and an array of other artifacts.
Dude, when I was in high school, I used to have panic attacks. Like I couldn't move. And it's like, how much of that is instilled by my environment and what I was learning as a kid? Like now I just fill my head with inspiring beliefs. I'm so happy that I do that because like now I don't really worry about anything. Yeah, I wish like imagine if we read Think and Grow Rich as kids.
These objects, when passing by the fire, cast elongated and distorted shadows on the stone wall before the prisoners. Having no other experiences, the prisoners mistake these dancing illusions for reality.
I have no idea. Does this look like you?
Categorizing them and assigning them names, erroneously believing that they are discerning
This one right here, this one's me.
tangible entities. You can see where Plato is going with this. Unexpectedly, one prisoner's shackles are removed, and he is thrust into the world beyond the cave for the very first time. The moment is ripe for him to be tested.
This was me when I heard about the Talk to a podcast, guys. No, I put the mic up to my mouth. I'm so tall that I can't. Does it sound better? Because I can hear the audio now, so that like my this is a good mic. It's just it's too far away from me.
The intense brilliance of the sunlight initially hurts his eyes, and the unfamiliar environment bewilders him. When confronted with the fact that his former perception of reality was merely a distorted illusion, and that the things he now sees around him are the real objects, he starts to suffer, his previous reality being deconstructed before his very eyes. The mind that opens to a new idea never returns to its original size. The shadows he was familiar with appeared much more vivid to him. However, as time progresses, his eyes slowly adapt to the overwhelming brightness, and his suffering slowly passes as he gets accustomed to his new perspective. Gradually, he starts perceiving.
Again, this is me the day I discovered the Talk to podcast. The most insightful. Should we watch that? Should we react to that? Dude, yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Reflections in shimmering water bodies, progresses to observing objects directly, and finally, he dares to gaze at the radiant sun, the ultimate source of light that illuminates everything he has been observing. Emboldened by his newfound understanding, the prisoner makes his way back to the cave, intending to share his revelations with the other prisoners. However, having grown accustomed to the light, he now finds the cave's darkness disorienting, and struggles to discern the once familiar shadows on the wall.
This is me when I turn off the podcast. You don't. Hypnodio, look it up real quick. You don't look it up. You don't know what you just got yourself into. Anyone that's watching, don't tell her, don't tell her, don't tell her. All right, guys. This is the most insightful.
If I was to walk upstairs and see like a going on, I'd be like,
picture this horror story. You're like naked, having sex, and there's people around you who are like, you could hear them talking shit about you.
was you in
Oh my God.
this with?
Yeah, I mean,
This is life-changing,
talk
guys.
about like the alleged traffic
I'm
tunnels.
inspired to go make change in my life. Literally have to close that out. That's literally all that I can stand. Oh, your height. No, 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 no. Not my height. We were talking about the most inspiring thing. The podcast I just put on.
The other prisoners, misconstruing his disorientation, surmise that his journey into the outer world has left him imbecilic and blinded, thereby rebuffing his attempts to liberate them vehemently. Plato presents this passage as an intricate
This was me just trying to put you guys onto that podcast. You guys just ignored it.
metaphor, symbolizing the predicament of a philosopher tasked with enlightening the masses. He asserts that most people not only find solace in their ignorance, but also exhibit hostility towards those who challenge their preconceived notions. There are many ways in which one can interpret Plato's allegory of the cave, each perspective having its own profound teaching.
The red pill guy. No, I'm just saying. It's so funny how like literally political pundits are telling you to take the red pill now. It's like that's you guys are part of the system. Like it's just so ironic. Like anyone that says take a pill, take the red pill, it's just like I'm worried I'll like it. Well, we can play more of it. Dude, me and my girlfriend, we were playing a game, and I was like, all right, whoever can listen to this the longest wins. And dude, I don't know how she did it because she must watch the most terrible TV shows. Because literally, it was 5 minutes in, and I'm begging her to turn it off. And I don't even remember, like, okay, I don't even think we carried through the day. I don't remember what my punishment was. I wish I did because it was probably something stupid. But like, I literally couldn't listen to this thing for more than 5 minutes for like I'm literally like I was literally about to rip out my charger. It was just so bad. You red pill yourself, wishing. Yeah, I think it's an interesting analogy, but I just think it's overplayed. It's like anything. It's like I don't know, like the first time you hear it, you're like, okay, this is an interesting, symbolic thing, but it now it's just like everyone and their mother's saying, oh, I'm red pill this, I'm red pill that. Like calling someone a blue pill used to be an insult. Now it's just like, bro, you're using that played out shit. What are you like, Andrew Tate's #1 fan?
After all, this is what an
Like
allegory
The
is all about.
Matrix is a good movie.
Reflecting
That's
on
all it
real-world
is. It's
events
not.
from
It's not
Socrates,
some political
Plato, and
message.
more,
Like
was condemned to death by the Athenian government in the same way that the freed
I'm not going to
prisoners
talk
were
about
by
what
the
it
labor.
truly is
His crime
symbolizing,
was the
but
disruption of societal order
look in the
by
before and
creating
after
more.
of the
So, to fully
directors.
comprehend the allegory of the cave, it's vital to situate it within its historical context and connect it to the broader philosophical
That's the #1 reason why you should not look into the people that make your favorite art. You'll be very disappointed.
tenets espoused by Plato. Emerging from a period marked by vibrant intellectual inquiry and cultural development in Athens, Plato's allegory encapsulates his metaphysical and epistemological viewpoints, deeply influenced by his mentor Socrates. Around the 5th century BCE, ancient Greece, and particularly Athens, was
Meds
seen as a
going
hub of
blue.
intellectual innovation and discourse. This era
Oh my God, you're a blue pill idiot. Oh, we gotta get him out of here, guys. I know he's a mod, but we have to ban him. No, it's literally so funny. I remember when like calling someone an NPC used to be a funny insult. Now it's just like so overused.
era, often called the Golden Age of Athens, saw a proliferation of philosophical inquiry into areas such as ethics, metaphysics, and epistemology. In the midst of this intellectual climate,
More right now. We got the main point. The what video is this? You have super low expectation. Bro, don't make me do it. I'm gonna nuke my viewership, but I'm doing it just to prove you wrong. If everyone unfollows me, it would be worth it. Oh my God, dude. She has JoJo Siwa on.
Never
It's
laid
muted.
eyes on a before. Don't do it. I'm not. Do you hop to? Actually,
Oh my
yeah. See, it's not just for the straight people.
All right, what's
Oh
the
my
craziest date you've ever been on?
Okay. Guys, we made it 15 seconds. I don't think I can do any more. Like genuinely, like when people talk about brain rot, that's what this
Like
is.
60 grand in 1 weekend on this girl just to get laid, and it didn't work.
What?
Oh my God, guys. Add the 7 principles in school. No, we're watching the Talk to a podcast, guys. Come on. I'm gonna do it right now, so don't forget. Anyone but Siwa. Yep, just Siwa. She's my hero. I just added this one. I love this picture. I don't know if it's the proper picture for this course, but we can go through this if you guys. Hopefully, I don't spell anything wrong. Damn, I thought it was longer than this. All right, we'll go through this because it's short. We'll close this. Never to go back to that again. Hopefully, um, literally, I can't even. keep that on more than 10 seconds because you realize that they were showing the highlights of that stream. That was the highlights of that stream. That was the most interesting part. That was the most exciting part. And it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You know what? I'll play a video to cheer you guys up. I feel like you guys are gonna get scared when I say that. This is my hero. You guys, yeah. You guys know the saddest video ever. Yes, exactly. I need the comedian defense for when people get offended. God, this is one of the saddest.
Please tell me where mommy is. She's gone. She's left. I don't know where she went. Do I know where she went? I don't know where she went.
Nowadays, this is you when your mom leaves you in the store.
Don't cry. Dry your eye.
Is that you?
What?
Yeah, at least she didn't make it out loud. Yeah, true. But, I mean, if she can't monetize, she will eventually. Guys, I think we have to relax. We have to react to this. You think we should react? Show eyes, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. I gotta like my circulation's all messed up. Dude, he's so cute, but like I just see too much of him. That video is just like it low key. The first time I watched it, I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of sad," but like, nah, it's just whatever. What were we doing? Okay, so this course is titled "Self Improvement is just Self Discovery." Um, the reason I made this was because I think there's too much focus on all you have to do is go to the gym. All you have to go is go make money, do this, do that, and you'll be happy. And it's like, I'll tell you what, there's people with tremendous physiques that, aren't happy. There's people with tremendous physiques that look in the mirror and then they're like, I need to take more steroids because I'm not big enough. I don't look good enough. And it's like everyone else in the world is just, you know, wow, this is such a good physique, but like they look at themselves and they're not happy. And it's like, I don't want you guys to go through that. Like I want you guys to be happy with yourself. You don't need to make drastic changes to be happy. It's just putting yourself in the right direction, putting yourself in the right frame of mind. And it's just really sad to me. And it's if you guys aren't in my school right now, it's free right now. I'm probably gonna open up to the first 50 or 100 people for free, and then after that we'll start charging. But I just want to get you guys in here and give you guys information. But I have a lot of things like this if this is the first you're seeing. But yeah, this is just really the whole idea of it. It's like it the changes on the surface aren't going to affect the deeper issues, and the deeper issues are the things that you avoided your whole life. Like if you've always been afraid to go up and approach girls, maybe that's something you should do. Maybe there's some insecurity that you haven't faced, and um what is it? I love Emerson's quote on fear. Fear defeats more people than any other one thing in the world. Always do what you're afraid to do. All right, we'll get back to this. Okay. So now that we know that service level changes, just going and taking action isn't going to fix things. Like, what do we do? What do we do? Like, at a certain point, making more money isn't going to make you happier. At a certain point, getting in better shape isn't going to make you happier. At a certain point, getting more girls isn't going to do anything except drive you further away from yourself. Like, through your self discovery, through finding yourself is where you find happiness. It's not through arbitrary accomplishments. It's not through getting a certain job title, through getting a certain amount of money, getting a certain amount of followers. Like the only thing that's going to make you happy is finding yourself, unfolding the layers of yourself, like discovering it, discovering who you truly were meant to be, like finding the parts of yourself that you have been hidden from society, that you've hidden from yourself, and starting to integrate that into yourself. So a good example for me is like for most of my life, like I had improved my physique. I had improved my ability to, communicate. My intelligence had gone up. Like everything in my life had gone up, and like clearly I should have been happier, but I was not happy because I was not being myself. And the big thing I was neglecting was my emotions. Like I'd fixed everything else in my life except my emotions. And once I started integrating my emotions, once I started giving thanks to the people in my life, once I started saying, you know what, I have all these blessings, I have all these things, like I was putting my emotions into positive things. And now they weren't being expressed of me going out to a bar and me getting aggressive, me getting cut off in traffic and me getting angry. Like if you are extremely angry, that means that you're not expressing this emotion in a healthy way. That means you're not putting it to some creative outlet. You're not putting it into something positive. Like that energy that you're using for anger and rage could be used as energy to, you know, love your partner, love the people around you, appreciate everything in your life. And it's all about the transmutation of energy, turning bad into good, turning emotion into a positive thing in your life. And it's really interesting because Jung called it the individuation process, and what that basically means is like we all have to go out and find who we are. We all have to go out and experience things, whether it's, you know, trying a million different things, whether it's going traveling, whether it's, you know, finding a purposeful career, whether it's going to school and learning something that you've never, you know, even thought about, learning a new way to approach a situation, learning perspective. Like we all have to go out and learn things, and it's through learning things that we find out about ourselves. Like you need to find the parts of yourself that you've been neglecting and start to integrate them. Methods of application. What do I say here? I literally just said what I was. Okay, so this is the most important thing. If people can simply define your beliefs, if people can define who you are in a simple sentence, then that means you're not doing enough. I think it was Emerson that said like, if you can, if you're understood, that means you're not exceptional. But exceptional people are inherently misunderstood, and if people don't know what you're about, that's a good sign that you are yourself. Like if you can fit into any box, then that means you're not yourself. Like you are so much more than just your name. You're so much more than just your appearance. You're so much more than just your bank account. Like you have a soul, you have a spirit, and you're everything and nothing at the same time. And we need to understand this because when we understand the bigger picture, when we understand ourselves on this level, there's no room to be sad. There's no room to be unhappy because you've unfolded every layer of yourself. Every part of yourself is expressed in the world. That's good. What's crazy is building that skill up and then you find one. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're talking about talking to girls. Okay. Okay. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, this was just a quick thing that I wrote today, but I think this is it doesn't need to be long to be meaningful. It doesn't need to be in depth to be meaningful. Like this is something that I feel like if people read and they start to understand what I'm getting at, like they have all the tools they need to start running with it and start applying it into their life. And it's like I just want to like this is literally what I want to do for all of these things that are empty right now. Like I have I think 7, 8 courses that are filled out right now. I really just want to like 48 Laws of Power is gonna take a while. I don't know if I want to release that. Only supplements I take. Law of Assumption. This is something that I've been meaning to do. Like these are all just things that I've been meaning to do. But we can get back to reactions because that was really all it was. I thought it was gonna be longer than that. Which, create heaven on earth. Story of creation, solve the inner mystery. All right, we'll watch. Give people a writing assignment. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Some of them I have assignments. Some of them I have. At the end, we'll start reading like when you finish a course, go in the general discussion and say one takeaway. I think that's a good thing. Like talk about what course you just went through, and in the general discussion, say one takeaway and one thing that you're going to learn. Because if we can just take away one thing from every course, like one thing we know we're going to apply, that's all you need. Like you don't need to agree with everything I say, but if you have one takeaway, one thing you're going to change about yourself, that's literally enough to just make a big enough difference to transform your life. Like that's the one thing I'll say about books. If you take away one thing from each book, that is all you need to know. Like one shred of information is information you can pull from the rest of your life and it's information you wouldn't have if you didn't read that book. So don't worry about what you're retaining or not. Christina, you finally get here after I've been streaming for like 2 hours at this point. Guys, we all slander Christina right now. Maybe a reading, a segment of text. Yeah, I think that's a good idea though. Adding some sort of assignment for each one. I think that's a good thing because it's almost just more incentive to go through it and more collaboration because I mean this platform is a really good place for collaboration if you look at it like because like we can all create chains on these things. We can all just have discussions. Like it doesn't just have to be me saying things. It could be like saying like, hey, I just went through this. Like this is what I learned from this. If you're interested in, fixing this part of your life, like go here. Like I think that would be a good way to really just you're doing dishes? Bro, it's 10:30. Why are you doing dishes? I can't believe it. Christine, you're always just disappointing me, man. I don't know what to do with you. Dishes, honestly, bro. Dude, Christina was in my stream earlier today, and she said, I'll be in your stream later, and she's not here. She just got here. Oh, Christina, we went through your favorite podcast. We reacted to the Talk to a podcast for like 15 seconds. The more value you provide, the more value you receive. Yeah, yeah. I think I think there's already like tremendous value in there. Like, dude, it's literally free and these things can transform your life. But I think the collaborative aspect makes it more important because like the more we can get people to think about these new ideas that they might not necessarily know, the more they can, begin to harden into their subconscious, begin to impress their subconscious. So I really do think it's a good way to do it. Like for me, if I read something, it immediately becomes part of me. It immediately transfers in my brain, but it's a very good idea to like almost force the thing. No, we're not going to the Talk to Him cast again. We heard Jojo Siwa talking about spending money or something. I don't even fucking remember what it was.
Plato said that a country is best ruled when the best persons rule.
You guys hear that?
The human being is best governed when the best part of himself leads. Now, some think the mind is the best part, others the emotions, some the physical body itself with its resources. But all of these finally come under the leadership of that which dwells within the
The
body,
drawing makes it
within
so
the
cool.
emotions, behind the mind. What is this basis of reality? How are we going to reach it? How are we going to challenge it to come out of its strange aloofness so that it can
Dude, his voice is just so cool. I don't know about you guys, I love his voice.
become available to the person? One thing we find out immediately is that this search has to be personal. There is no possibility of communicating this reality in immediate ways necessary to
Guys, something was outside. That wasn't me smashing my knee into the
solve the
desk.
problem of the individual, except that it be given to the individual with his particular problem. So we have to try to find out how to reach the opening of the inner light so that something superior to mind can become the ruler of mind and use the mind, the emotions, and the body as an instrument for the fulfillment of a sacred purpose. This we have
Crazy how this tree symbolism is in all these videos.
to try to discover in one way or another. In ancient times, there
Yeah,
were
yeah,
various
it really
doctrines
does.
that were developed
He's
very
from
largely
Canada,
for the
though.
purpose of bringing the individual into contact with his own higher nature. That there were teachings that taught him to rise above even the highest aspects of his own mind into an immediate and intimate
I feel like you're taking a class. Is it a good thing or a bad
experience
thing?
of reality.
It's a better
One of
class
the
than
first
whatever
things
you've
that
been in.
we are told in ancient scriptures is the simple line, "Be still and know that I am God."
This is a really powerful affirmation. Um, I don't necessarily suggest doing it.
Now, I think perhaps
This
this is
is
one of the
School
most
of Life
important
Mastery,
statements mentioned
exactly,
in
yeah.
man's religious life. The problem of trying to be still. Now, when we think of still, if we are bound to material things, we will simply say that the individual does nothing. That is not the answer. That is not what is intended. Intended only to become part of worship. When the individual seeks the ordinary, he can read a school book or attend a class. When he seeks to know the mystery of his own inner self, he cannot.
Dude, these drawings are making it so interesting. Good, I'm learning real and needed info. Yeah, this is about the development of the soul.
Storm the gates of
Something you'll
heaven.
never learn
If he tries to get into the
unless you come
sheepfold,
here.
which was the old name for religion,
Or
by
watch
any way
these
except the
channel
proper gate,
videos.
he is then a thief and a robber. Therefore, the ethics, the morality, the integrities involved have to be kept in mind at all times. To be still.
That's very important. It's always the intent that matters. It's always the intent that changes things. So, like, if we want good in this world, we have to be good. We have to always be good. Whenever we start to think evil things, that's when we.
To the mystic, means to be free from the involvements of mind and emotion, and free also from various physical symptomologies.
There's a famous story. I don't know if I should say this, but Neville Goddard got his best students to say, "Be still and know that I'm God," and they had like crazy realizations, crazy experiences.
In order that evil be permitted,
I don't
that which
necessarily
is
want
truly the
to
overself to be heard. The still voice, the small voice, comes to the individual who stops talking long enough to hear it. And that is very rare, even in religion. The problem always is that we are trying desperately to decide for ourselves, on mental, emotional, and physical levels, those problems and decisions which can come only from something superior to what we now use. We have to, some way, break into that mysterious realm that has been called intuition, or the extrasensory band. To be still.
It's crazy to me how many people don't give any credit to the higher faculties, don't give any credit to intuition and all of these other things. Like, it's to me how people can walk around this earth and not feel the video. What video? Like the stream? I already put it in there. If you want to tell people to join, go ahead. I'm not going to do that. Like, I put the stream, and if people want to join, they can join. If they don't want to join, they're not going to follow.
Still now, for us, in this particular world in which we now live, it seems to me, is to cease doing that which is not necessary, not right, and not good. The individual.
Really, Christina, cease that which is not necessary, not right, not good. You know what that means? Don't get in-school suspension.
Must choose sometime to clearly face the fact that he cannot be right if he continues to act wrong.
Hypnosis, this
There
is
is
right now.
a relationship between conduct and consciousness. There is a relationship between our material personality and that mysterious locked over self which we are seeking to understand. Therefore, it is very necessary to be still in the sense of recovering from all of those intemperances of attitudes.
It's not just talking about stillness of the body, it's talking about stillness of the mind. Being able to sit there and not think. Everyone thinks thinking is a good thing. Is so, I need you this, I need you that. If I'm not doing something, then I can't do this, I can't do that. It's easier to be good than to be bad, yes. I think it's in most people's nature to be good, but we're kind of bred by society to be bad. I think in general people want the best for each other, but people, they might not have good luck, they might not be blessed with these things, and they're like, well, I need to do this for the good of me and at the expense of others. I think it's kind of something that develops out of society. What was I talking about? Yeah, it's talking about stillness. It's not just when you say be still and know that I'm God, it's not just stillness of the body, it's stillness of the mind. It's converting the conscious to the unconscious, bringing these two forces together, sitting there and not having any thoughts. Like everyone, my God, oh my God, stop making me laugh. Christina always ruins my streams. But yeah, it's about stillness of the mind. Like this is a Jungian point, but he basically said that the Western world is so hung up on action, so hung up on this, and the Eastern mindset is more like meditation, more relaxed. And like if you can just find yourself able to relax your mind, get into a state of no thought, like this is the most fulfilling and the most happy and the most integrated you'll be.
By means of which the normal growth of the consciousness is
Christina's
delayed
always
or disposed of
just
entirely.
things.
Therefore, if we want to really understand this, we have to begin the process of ironing out ourselves, to get rid of those things which interfere with the natural mistakes of life. I mentioned that one day to a man who came to see me, that if he stopped all these various attitudes that he had,
I don't do mantra meditation. I just
he's
do
quite
normal
unhappy and a little
meditation.
indignant.
Focusing
Well,
on
he said,
my
if I
breath,
stop thinking about all these mistakes, I'll have nothing.
allowing my thoughts to just pass. Like a lot of people, when they meditate, they think having thoughts is bad. It's not necessarily true. Like if you have thoughts, that just means your mind is very active. If you just continue to keep focusing on your breathing and don't hold on to the thoughts, just allow them to pass in one ear, out the other. Just allow them to just kind of flow around, bounce around, and eventually they'll dissipate, and eventually you'll get to the state where there's no thoughts at all.
It's all to think about. Well, that probably is true. But it's possible to imagine that there might be some things to think about that are not mistakes, if we give any ground for such thinking. if we are willing to gradually iron out the impulses and intemperances with which we have burdened ourselves for thousands of years and brought with us in any sequence of rebirth that happens to us. Supposing we say that the individual who wants to get better is trying to grow because the present condition has become intolerable. The person is not satisfied as he is.
After 10 to 15 minutes to listen to it. Yeah. Really? It takes 10, 15 minutes? It takes me like 2 minutes. Idiot.
He is not satisfied in what he has been.
Christina, this is you then.
But he does not know how to carry himself into the future without dragging this rubble with him. Tomorrow is just another day in which to worry about the problems of yesterday. This whole problem of the continuity of a compound attitude has to be broken up in some way. The person has to be able to be quiet without unhappy thoughts coming. He must be able to be relaxed and think without thinking.
When you first try to do this, it's very difficult. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like anything. It's like learning a sport. Like the first few times, you're not going to be good. The more you are conscious about your thoughts, the more you're conscious about calming down your mind, the easier and easier it is. And the less and less you'll need to consciously do it. Like most of the day, I am not really worried about anything. I'm not really thinking about anything. Unless I'm actively doing something, my mind's just kind of off. And you'll just notice yourself doing that more and more. And don't think this is a bad thing. Don't think you need to be in deep thought at all times. Like you want to save your energy. You don't want to have your battery running at all times. You want to just be able to recharge it, reset it. Think of it like that. Think of it like you only have so much energy in the day. You don't want to dissipate it all at once. Oh, okay. Really? Even when I first started, I kind of just learned how to do that right away. But again, just everyone's different.
Destructively, critically, or in some way detrimental to all concerned. And if his thinking is so bad he can't stand it, he's got to learn to get over the
There's
instinct
times
to
where I
take
meditate
something
for
and forget
20
himself.
minutes and like that for like
The individual trying to forget himself is really telling us.
And there's times where I meditate for 2 minutes and it feels like I meditated for 30. Like it's crazy how time passes when you're, actually conscious.
He's trying to forget a personality that is impossible. And there's no way of getting away with it except by outgrowing it. Now, some undoubtedly have been able to drink themselves to death and hope that by this means that they have accomplished everything.
Christine, is that you right now?
That was necessary. While these people believe in the kind of life that we are generally living, they will feel they have got release. But to the deeper thinker, they have solved nothing and have escaped nothing. So that the problem becomes again, cure it now rather than face it.
Osho had an interesting idea on, the use of drugs. He was saying that it's basically forcing the mind to get like a childlike relaxed. It's getting you to forget about your responsibilities, and it's really just like a release for a temporary amount of time. But if you just meditate, you don't really feel the need to do any of these things anymore. Like I really agree. Like anytime I'm really stressed out, if I meditate, like I don't fall into my old habits. I don't need to go out on the weekends. I don't need to go do things that necessarily aren't good for me. I think it's really crazy to see the power of meditation, the power of your mind, and just simply relaxing your mind, what comes in, what goes out.
Later. So in the problem of getting started on this inner search, we have to try to find out that nature, in its own way, our natural compound, is essentially cooperative. The body with all its natural functions is really a pretty good creature considering everything. It has.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to get distracted by your own thoughts, though. I think it could be a good thing because it sometimes in that state you reveal your true feelings about things. You can make some breakthroughs because you're kind of in an unconscious conscious state. It's almost like when you first wake up. When you first wake up, you kind of have access to your unconscious and you're somewhat conscious. So like you might get genius level ideas. This is why Einstein did the thing we were talking about yesterday. He had a plate and he had a fork and he would fall asleep, and as he was falling asleep, the fork would drop and it would go, and he'd wake up. And then he'd be in the state to have the power of the conscious and unconscious mind at once and have genius ideas.
Laws and rules which if we keep them, it will keep us as long as possible. It also has rules that we cannot break. And the moment we begin to reject our responsibility to the body,
Christine, is that you?
We're in trouble. We get so interested in what we're
Oh
doing
my
mentally and
God,
emotionally.
they were
that we
so
wreck the
mean
body.
to that person.
And
Look
because
how
we
many
wreck the body
ailments they
in
have.
accomplishing a large personal fortune, we then feel that the wreckage was worthwhile, but it isn't. Actually,
And
therefore, the first laws that man faces are obvious to himself. He faces them in his daily living, but he has learned to carefully ignore the findings. He also has developed a new escape which our ancestors really didn't have, namely that if he couldn't get out of the trouble himself, he could hire someone else to get out of it for him. But it's just as difficult to have another person solve your problems as to have another person eat your food and you be nourished by it. You can't do these things. So
That's like, what even is this image? I think they should have just showed someone watching a mukbang. But this isn't it weird how popular people eat food and gorge themselves is? It's almost like you get a part of that.
we have now the complex situation of people who want to grow, but have already stunted their own growth badly. They want to be better, but they do not know what to do with the mistakes that have accumulated. I think the old mystics had the perfect answer for it. They simply said, be quiet and know that I am God. Now, this wasn't a theological type of definition. It is a definition based upon the concept that when we cease to build our own mistakes, when we cease to fashion a giant monster out of our own intemperances and relax, all of these evil things simply fade away for lack of nutrition, but they will not fade.
Literally just meditation. Just calming your mind down. Just being able to sit there and look at the wall, look at the TV that's turned off. It's funny. I remember streaming for 2 hours, 20 minutes. I guess we'll go for a little longer.
As long as one drop of
I'm
nutriment
not
is
gonna
available to them.
turn off right
As
now.
long as we continue to have unhappy attitudes, we are not
We're
going
not
to
gonna
solve
go
the
for
mystery of our own inner consciousness. Actually, the way of life physically that gives us the maximum probability for years is the same type of discipline as that which is necessary to the mind and the emotions so that they will fulfill their duties as perfectly as possible. When the emotions are quieted down to simple, gentle, real values, the emotional nature is protected. We have no likelihood of trouble with some of the internal organs of the endocrine.
Dude, these drawings are so good. I think it makes it like 10 times more interesting. Because I've listened to Manly P. Hall forever, but I'm like,
system, which have
I'm
particular
forgetting
control
that
over
I'm
our
like
emotional
literally reacting
content.
to
We
this.
will not kill ourselves by false feelings any more than we will kill ourselves with bad food. When we go up again to the third one, we have the mind. If the mind is used as it was intended to
He's
be,
always right.
and that is for the common good, for the advancement of everything that is real and valuable in life. If the mind could be released from the terrific pressure of self-interest.
This is an interesting drawing because it's showing that the more conscious we are, the more in harmony with nature we are, the less we deal with these things. And these people at the bottom, these are the people that succumb to alcohol. These are the people that come to desires. These are the people that succumb to all of these things.
If it could get away from all its scheming on how to defeat a brother, and rather simply quietly work out
This
how to
guy?
help him, all things would be much better in the mental world. There would be much less mental breakdown, and we would not be suffering from too many cases of senility. It is the misuse of the mind that gradually changes life into a dismal dwelling for the...
Okay. I want you guys to read that quote. It is the misuse of the mind that gradually changes life into a dismal dwelling for the individual. Your thoughts compose everything. The way you view the world will always determine how you see it. The way we use our faculties, the way we direct our energy, direct our thoughts, is always going to determine the outcome of our lives. Like there are billionaires who are unhappy and there are homeless people that are dancing in the streets. It's all about the application. It's all about how you choose to see things, how you choose to view scenarios. Why do they keep drawing me? Bro. Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Individual. So in each of these levels, there is a natural law. Each of these creatures has its
Is
rights
this you,
and privileges.
Christina?
Each level of ourselves has its inalienable needs and corrections. They're all here if we want to use them. Now, a lot of people have been perfectly willing to support religion's industrial.
What do you guys think it takes to draw these? You share these videos? Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to paste this. I have all the tabs up. So unless actually, yeah, I can go.
They have been willing to make pilgrimage. They have been
Or,
willing to do all kinds of
just remind me.
penances to remove some guilt mechanisms within themselves. And at the same time, even though they live a pretty fair life, this great experience of projection into something higher has not occurred to them.
Oh, my
And largely, it's a result of not being able to quiet the separate levels of our consciousness.
You guys didn't see that. I guess it overheated. We'll go to a
On their
camera
own
for that.
levels, and then quiet the relationships of them to each other. In other words, if the mind and emotions are locked in conflict, they're in trouble.
He's
Wherever
drawing
there
with
is
markers
conflict,
though, right?
there is a kind of destruction. There is a false motion. Wherever there is an obstruction, there is a decay of values, a disintegration, an
And
infection,
they're getting good
in
views
which something
though, so
becomes
it's
sick.
not.
All selfishness is sickness,
Worth it.
no matter what you want to call it.
Christine, is this
All
you?
jealousy is sickness. These things are just exactly as serious as sicknesses as are the ordinary physical ailments which we may or may not be able to cure. This problem, therefore, is to get rid of the sickness arising from the misuse of powers, faculties, and principles within ourselves. Unless we're able to do this, we're going to stay right in trouble just the way we are. But the worst part of it is, we may be a good church member while we're in this problem. It has never occurred to us that religion demanded anything more of us than allegiance.
You guys can't see me shaking my head, but this is very important. This is, I think, not to say religion's bad, but major, this is the major downfall of most religions. It's about obedience to the religion and not obedience to God. It's about obedience to the church and not to God. It's about the control systems, the control mechanisms, and it's not about the true message, the true essence that we all have a part of God inside of us, and we all have to find that part. It's not teaching you to be like God. It's teaching you to follow them, and they will teach you how to be God. It's inherently a flawed system. Not to say that there's not great preachers, not to say that there's not great pastors, but it's the overall organization that I think gets away from the true cause, the true message, the true essence. The power is in the individual, it's not in the institution.
It was like a parent who demanded that the child obey, but did not necessarily contribute to any enlightenment in the purposes of obedience. The religious association, which washes away sins with baptismal water, has not gotten to the point where it realizes, or that people realize, that they have got to wash their own sins away all too often with their own tears. So there's time to get at some of these values directly. If the person wants to be born again in the theological sense of the word, it isn't that he simply accepts a religion. To be born again means to not make the same mistakes again.
It's very important. It's very, very important. We all make mistakes. They're perfect. But it's the people that learn from them, the people that grow, that make the difference. It's the people that find ways to, overcome what has kept us down in the past, to look at things without emotion and just move on. Not demonize ourselves, just continue to move forward. Enlightenment and madness can sound the same, but the mad one sleeps better. I don't know if you're enlightened, you don't listen.
It means to clear the slate. A new birth means to start out with a fresh, clean, honest mind, without carrying anything from the past. Everything that is detrimental must be left aside. Now, out of this is something more, though, than just keeping the moralities straight. It is part of this business of being quiet. Every agitation, every intensity of negative attitude is dangerous to the inner life of the person.
People that use Jesus and religion to get other sins. Yeah. And it's like, how many wars have to start over religion before we realize that the institution necessarily hitting at the true message? Like, we all feel the power of God inside us. We all feel these things, and it's like, if you're enlightened, you don't need sleep. Yeah, Osho doesn't close his eyes. You don't really have the same physical demands that everyone else has.
Person.
The path of enlightenment isn't a destination, but a lifelong commitment to self-improvement. It's a really, really good quote. I love Manly P. Hall. He's very inspiring. He just has a way of saying things so simply yet so elegantly. Let's look for more. Oh, this is a really good Mao Zedong.
Deprived state of mind.
It's really cool. We'll go through. I think I'll call it quits because I'm starting to get really hungry.
This episode of After School was written by Einzelgänger. Those who stand on tiptoes do not stand firmly. Those who rush ahead don't get very far. Those who try to outshine others dim their own light.
Zoo, like, he says things so simply, yet they have so much depth. I want to be a dragon. Yeah. You're talking about Manly P. Hall.
Observed that humans often act in counterproductive ways. We frequently force things only to discover that our efforts backfire. We try to improve the world, but then we observe that altering the natural way causes many new problems. Often, the more we strive for something, the more we seem to drift away from it. We may wish to impress someone we're attracted to, but for some...
It's very important. The harder we try, the more we need something, the less it's going to be part of our lives. The vision of enlightenment you would use, I use it very loosely. I mean, the thing about enlightenment is you're supposed to use it loosely. It's not enlightenment isn't the same thing for everybody. It's an individual experience, it's a personal experience. It's literally just integrating the conscious with the unconscious. It's being present in all moments. And we can access these states temporarily, but it's the ability to do this at all times of the day. Like literally having no thoughts ever unless you consciously are aware of it. Like you never have any anxiety, you never have any fear. And I mean, how we get there, we can differ on the ideas, but that's really how I would describe it.
For some reason, the more we try,
It's not
the
really a
less we
concrete
succeed.
thing.
Or we're about to deliver a speech we have rehearsed over 100 times, and even though we know it inside out, we utterly blow it. In such cases, our knowledge and abilities aren't the problem. We know sufficient, we have practiced enough to perform. The problem arrives when we get in our own way.
That's the most important thing you'll hear from Taoism. We get in our own way by living in the past, living in the future, by living in anything but the now. And Taoism is all about the present moment, affecting the only thing that we can affect, being in the present and existing only in then. Like there's a problem, it probably isn't a problem unless it exists in the present. Unless there's somebody kicking down your door right now, you don't have to worry about all of these, oh, Trump's the president, my rights are going to be taken away. Like, no, they're not. You're worrying and getting yourself worked up about something that isn't present right now. Only worry about the present.
It's the mind that tries too hard to control the situation, to analyze and intellectualize
Yes,
what results
exactly.
are good.
Everyone out here is
Curious
thinking
Taoist
with the
sage
mind
Lao
when you
Tzu
have to
was
think with
aware
the
of
heart.
the human quirk of getting so lost in their intellectual prison that they forget the natural way.
Now is
So
forever,
they
yes.
force and strive, swimming against
Now
their
is the
stream,
only
sometimes
guarantee
ending
we
up
have.
further away from their goals than when they started. So what if we stopped trying so hard and found a different, more effortless way of getting things done? This video explores Lao Tzu and the art of not trying. Lao Tzu is the most well-known Taoist sage, although there's no proof.
It's either called Taoism or Taoism. It depends on the age. So Tao and Tao are they're interchangeable. So just you see Taoist, just know it's the same thing. I had to look that up because I was confused because I was seeing two different ways to say it. So
That he ever lived. If he did, it should have been somewhere around the 5th and 6th century BC, which makes him a contemporary of Confucius. Nevertheless, the legendary Chinese philosopher
Lao Tzu just bullies Confucius. He always just makes fun of him.
wrote a masterpiece called Tao Te Ching, which many consider the
This is a
primary
very good
Taoist
book. I'll
teaching.
review this at some
The Tao
point
Te Ching
soon.
is a mysterious piece of art. Not only is there no consensus
I just
on
have to go
when
back
exactly
through it.
it was written, but the existence of its author remains disputed. Nevertheless, one thing is sure, the profundity of this work has left its mark on humanity to this day. It's also worth noting that the Tao Te Ching ranks among the most translated works in world literature. Lao Tzu seemed to have written this text as a manual for a ruler, for a significant
It's like 40 pages. If you have like an hour or two, I really suggest reading it. It has a lot of wisdom in it. It's one of those works that like you can read it 1,000 times and never really grasp the whole meaning. Take it a different way every time. It's very
part. It's about governing people and being a good leader.
Taoism's a philosophy too. It's not necessarily religion. There's religious components of it, but it's more like Buddhism. It's a non-theistic religion. It's belief in nothing. Like not necessarily that it's not believing in God, but it's like it believes that everything's intertwined, and to believe in God is to take away from that ideal. That makes sense.
Mainly by letting people govern themselves. It discusses themes like trust and oppression,
I
moderation
Ching.
and excess, and humility and pride, qualities that make or break you as a
What are you
ruler,
talking
but
about?
also as a human. Lao Tzu speaks of the value of trusting instead of trying to control everyone and everything, taking the lower position instead of trying to dominate, and being flexible instead of rigid. In short, poetic phrases, he makes his message clear. He wrote, for example,
That's very important. What you just said. Like most of us try to control everything, but we just have to allow people to. Like if someone is going to let you down, they're going to let you down. There's no need to worry about it. There's no need to do anything about it. Like don't be proactive about it. Just allow them to, break your trust and then see where it goes. I think that's a much better approach because for most of my life, especially in relationships, I'd always be like, "Are you doing this? Are you doing that?" And it's like I have no reason to believe that anything's going on. The moment I see proof is the moment I'm like, all right, you don't deserve to be my life anymore. And until that happens, we're going to continue to go, but we're not going to worry about changing someone. We're not going to worry about, trying to force someone to do something. No, I haven't. I haven't. Send send a
those
link
who
to
are
that in
stiff
the
and
Discord.
rigid are the disciples of death. Those who are soft and yielding are the disciples of life. The rigid and stiff will be broken. The soft and yielding will
Soft and yielding just means adaptability. It doesn't mean anything aside from that. I mean, it's the same thing as the meek will inherit the earth. Not necessarily talking about being weak. It's talking about being adaptable.
Overcome. End quote. Yet at the heart of his teachings lies a pivotal concept, the mysterious, all-encompassing force called Tao. The essence of Taoist philosophy is living in harmony with the Tao, also called the Way. So what is the Tao?
It just means nature, living closest to nature, being one with nature, acting as if you aren't part of society, just integrating completely. It really parallels Jung's ideals a lot.
Lao Tzu clarifies that we cannot know the Tao, at least not intellectually. Our understanding of it only goes as far as the limitations of our perception. The true nature of the Tao remains a mystery. Moreover, according to Lao Tzu, the Tao we speak of isn't the real Tao. Hence, the famous opening of his work goes like this. The Tao that can be described is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be spoken is not the eternal name. End quote.
This is a very important part of this. Like, this is a philosophy that I've never heard it's using, but when you actually read it, it makes more sense. I don't know if you can really explain this. I think it's more something you have to experience. It's very similar to the Bible, where it uses a lot of stories, a lot of Tao, a lot of Taoism. They use stories to give the messages across.
So, if the true Tao always eludes us, what can we actually know about it? The Taoist philosophers
And you're gonna know
emphasize
the battery
over
for
and
this
over
camera.
again that the
This is
true Tao
already gonna
is an
die.
overarching force beyond our comprehension, which the senses cannot perceive. The Tao drives everything and governs the universe. It's behind all we perceive, doing its work, never rushing, always getting things done. It's a force of immense depth. We can't control it. We can only move with it or against it.
Very important. We have to go with the flow. We can never resist the change. Change is the only thing that is going to happen. Change is the only thing that's guaranteed. 10,000 things is not that hard.
Living in harmony with the Tao is the ultimate goal of a Taoist sage. But how does he pull this off? Lao Tzu doesn't provide a practical guide on living in agreement with the Tao. However, his lyrical writings contain many clues that point to achieving stillness of mind, being receptive instead of controlling, and a curious concept known as non-action, or effortless action. The latter is quite paradoxical, as not acting and not doing imply passivity. But from a Taoist viewpoint, that's not the case at all. According to Lao Tzu, for those who practice not doing, everything falls into place.
It's not necessarily about being lazy. It's just about knowing when to act, knowing when you have to do something. Like, we've all been at a shit where we're told to look busy, but it's like, if there's no work, don't stress yourself out. Don't find something to do for the sake of doing something. Just, wait for a new assignment, or find something that's actually necessary. Don't do a meaningless task for the sake of being busy. It's more so like that. And it's talking about effortless action is just inspired action. Like, you know, doing something because you want to do it, doing something because it's passionate, not forcing yourself to do something when you don't want to do it.
So how can we achieve something by not doing? How can we act effortlessly and still get everything done? The answer? Wu Wei. The Chinese concept of Wu Wei, or not doing, is central to Taoism. It can be translated as non-action, effortless action, or the paradoxical action of non-action. Wu Wei is multifaceted. There are different forms of non-action. Lao Tzu's writings.
Osho did a really good job of explaining this. Osho says there's a difference between activity and action. Action is something that's necessary. So, like, if you own a shop, like opening the door and flipping the sign and unlocking it so customers couldn't come in. But like, there's also things we do to keep ourselves busy. Oh, my camera died again. Literally to just keep ourselves busy. That is action, and that is against Wu Wei. That's not doing things that are necessary. All right. I'm starting to get tired and really hungry. I think I'm gonna end it now. Thank you guys for joining. I'm like dying right now, and my camera's just pissing me off. So I think this is it. Thank you guys for joining so much. Yeah. See you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna stream earlier in the morning tomorrow because I have stuff to do later at night. So if you guys are around during the day, stay tuned for a stream.